The story begins at the Silver Dragon Dungeon, where dragon soldiers guard the prison. At that moment, a woman approaches the dungeon. The guards notice her and address her as Your Majesty. The dragon woman orders the soldiers to leave, stating that she wants to speak with him alone. The soldiers obey. The woman is Rosweiss, the Silver Dragon Queen, ruler of all dragons. She enters the dungeon, where a man is bound in chains, a dragon slayer. The Dragon Queen addresses him, calling him the great dragon-slaying hero, and asks how it feels to now be a prisoner of the dragon clan. The dragon slayer tells her to kill him. The queen mocks him, saying he wants a quick death, but it won't be that easy. Holding his chin, she comments on his handsomeness and resolve, then scratches his cheek, adding that a few more scars would make him perfect. He feels pain from the wound. The dragon slayer demands her to stop humiliating him, urging her to kill him or chop him up as she pleases, and to act faster. The dragon queen releases his chin and, licking his blood, remarks that for someone as powerful as him, if he hadn't been framed by a villain, he wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. She then asks him to consider joining the Silver Dragon clan. The dragon slayer responds, questioning if she is worthy. With a serious expression, the dragon queen kicks him hard enough to break his chains. The force of the kick causes him to cough up blood. Stepping on him, the dragon queen angrily asks how a prisoner dares to be rude to her. Calling him Leon Cuss Mode, she mocks him, asking if he still thinks he is the great hero of humanity, praised by thousands. She taunts him further, wondering if he still dreams of wiping out the dragon clan and leaving behind a noble legacy. Rosweiss tells Leon to wake up, declaring that he's going to die here, calling him an ignorant and worthless loser. She adds that perhaps, under different circumstances, he might have had the chance to let his descendants enjoy wealth and glory with him. Isn't that an interesting hypothesis? She muses. But unfortunately, she reminds him, he has no successor, so such a future won't be possible. Leon retorts, warning her not to underestimate humans. Rosweiss wraps her tail around him and lifts him into the air, commenting on how stubborn he is. Leon struggles to break free from her grip but fails. He then calls her Your Majesty. Rosweiss asks if he's finally ready to beg for mercy. Leon responds that she made two crucial mistakes. Rosweiss doesn't understand, so he explains. First, she should never be alone with the most powerful dragon slayer trained to kill her kind. Second, she should never have tasted his blood. Suddenly, Leon casts a spell through his eyes, activating a blood curse that afflicts Rosweiss. Stunned by the curse, she releases Leon and retracts her tail. Leon falls to the ground. Rosweiss starts breathing heavily, feeling an intense heat building up inside her. She falls to her knees, her face turning red, wondering what's happening to her. Her breathing grows even heavier as she thinks, what on earth is going on? Leon coldly informs her that soon, she will be tormented by the soul-destroying pain for the rest of her life. Gritting her teeth in anger, Rosweiss suddenly lunges at him, pinning him to the ground. Her face flushed, she leans her body onto his, staring at him intensely. Leon is caught off guard, thinking, what's going on? As Leon observes Rosweiss, noticing her flushed face and heavy breathing, he begins to realize the situation and wonders if she's becoming aroused. Before he can react, Rosweiss takes the lead and kisses him forcefully. Leon is shocked, his face turning red as she continues the kiss. You can imagine what happens next. An hour later, the floor is strewn with discarded clothes. Rosweiss wakes up, still dazed, and upon seeing her naked body, she turns to Leon and shouts furiously, demanding to know what he did to her. Leon, now awake, calmly explains that it's a blood curse, a forbidden technique that can only be used once in a lifetime. He tells her that once he dies, the curse will cause her endless pain. Furious, Rosweiss yells, if the spell only takes effect after his death, then what just happened? Leon, still flustered, replies that it was an accident. He explains that he believed the curse's pain would manifest only after his death, but he didn't anticipate its side effects, which caused her arousal. Embarrassed, Rosweiss yells at him to shut up. Leon calmly states that, as far as he knows, dragons follow the rule of monogamy and asks if he is correct. He then remarks that after his death, the great Silver Dragon Queen will not only be unable to find a new mate but also unable to bear offspring, and she will be hard-pressed to explain to the Dragon Clan why all of this happened. He admits that the effects of the forbidden spell have far exceeded his expectations. Rosweiss tries to respond but can't bring herself to speak. Leon asks her to repeat what she said earlier. He reminds her that earlier she claimed he would have no successor, and now she, too, will have no heir. There will be no successor to the dragon line, he says. Enraged, Rosweiss charges at Leon, summoning an aura to her hand. As her hand nearly reaches him, Leon mockingly remarks that she wants to kill him, but she doesn't need to do it herself, he will die soon enough. He tells her to live with hatred for him and to endure a lifetime of pain. This is his curse to her as a human, he declares. Rosweiss pauses, withdrawing her hand. After some time, she dresses, looking at Leon with disdain. She coldly remarks that he is just a human, and yet he seeks revenge in such a despicable way and he wants to die. Rosweiss then, casting magic, asks, "How can it be that easy?" Rosweiss then casts a spell on Leon's chest. If you guys enjoy my recaps, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Make sure to watch till the end. Leon Cosmety was once a legendary dragon-slaying hero. At just 5 years old, he killed his neighbor's vicious dog with his bare hands. His actions caught the attention of a renowned dragon slayer, who took him on as an apprentice. By the age of 10, Leon had entered the Imperial Dragon Slayer Academy, and 4 years later, he graduated as the youngest and most highly evaluated student in history. At 15, he began fighting on the dragon-slaying battlefield, killing countless dragons, recapturing territory, and earning numerous military accolades for the Empire. Leon was celebrated as the strongest dragon-slaying hero and the Empire's only hope for victory in the war. However, he was eventually captured by the Dragon Clan. 2 years have passed since Leon was taken prisoner. After a long sleep, he awakens suddenly, screaming and gasping for breath. As he clutches his chest, he wonders where he is. He looks around the room and notices someone peeking at him from the door. A little girl is watching him with curiosity. Surprised, Leon's face turns red as he thinks about how cute she looks. The girl asks if he's finally awake. Leon, holding his head, tries to make sense of the situation. As it slowly dawns on him, he mutters to himself that he must be in heaven, believing his great deeds have earned him a place there. Pointing at the girl, he confidently declares that she must be the legendary angel. Confused, the little girl asks, "What's an angel?" Leon, still under the impression he's in heaven, greets her and calls her a little angel, asking for her name. The girl replies that her name is Moon. Smiling, Leon compliments her, saying, "Moon, what a lovely name." Internally, he wonders why this angel's hair is so unusual, black and white mixed together. Moon explains that her mother told her it means the moon. Leon internally wonders if angels also have mothers. He introduces himself as Leon Cosmode. Moon cheerfully says she knows Leon means lion. Leon asks who told her this. Moon replies that her mom said so too. Leon is shocked and thinks there's no way. He then asks if he can find out who her mother is. Moon says her mother is Rosweiss. Leon is taken aback and devastated upon hearing this. He says that if her mother is Rosweiss, then he must be. Moon looks at him and cheerfully says that he is her father. Hearing this, Leon is completely shocked and left speechless. Holding his head, he says that he is dad and this child is actually his and Rosweiss's. Moon sees Rosweiss, calls her mom, and starts running towards her. Leon then turns and looks in that direction. Moon, hugging Rosweiss, says that dad is awake. Rosweiss replies that she knows and tells Leon that he finally woke up. Moon adds that mom must be happy to see dad awake because she came to visit him every day. Rosweiss, looking at Leon coldly, confirms Moon's statement. Leon, gritting his teeth in anger, thinks that only a ghost would believe this. Rosweiss tells Moon to go out and play first, as she needs to talk to her father. Moon playfully agrees. Leon asks if she really is his daughter. Rosweiss asks what else she could be. She then confirms that she is their biological daughter. Rosweiss closes the door with her tail. Leon asks she hates him, why she gave birth to their child, and why she saved him. Rosweiss explains that he's been asleep for 2 years and questions if he thinks she can just forget what he did to her 2 years ago. Leon says she thinks he wanted this situation. He asserts that they are different and cannot coexist. If it were any other time, he would never have touched her. Rosweiss asks if touching her is also a form of torture for him. Leon replies, of course it is. Rosweiss then grabs Leon's leg with her tail and pulls him, causing him to fall onto the bed. Slowly, Rosweiss climbs on top of him. Seeing this, Leon asks what she is going to do. Rosweiss tears Leon's shirt and, casting a spell, says she wants to carve her own dragon pattern onto him. Leon tells Rosweiss to stop. As she places the spell on his chest, she explains that it will become his shame, meaning that from now on he will be her prisoner and will never be able to leave her. The mark she places on Leon's chest also appears on Rosweiss's chest. Rosweiss says that when his fellow humans see the dragon tattoo on his body, They will wonder if he is a great dragon-slaying hero or a traitor who surrendered to dragons. Gritting his teeth, Leon asks why she is going to such lengths. Rosweiss places her finger on Leon's lip and asks if he doesn't understand. She explains that the dragon race's concept of revenge is always a difficult problem for human dragon scientists. Their revenge is an inhuman behavior that combines paranoia and extremes beyond human understanding. Rosweiss says she wants him to live in this shame for the rest of his life and be severely humiliated by her. Leon's face turns red, and his body starts burning as he contemplates the situation. For the Silver Dragon Queen Rosweiss, it is a great honor to make Leon, the greatest dragon slayer in human history, a slave of the Dragon Clan and the Silver Dragon Queen's closest partner in a sense. Rosweiss leans closer to Leon's face and says that it's time to get started. Although it is incredible from a human perspective, this is her revenge on the Dragon Slayer as a dragon. In the Silver Dragon Castle, one maid comments that the Queen seems to be in a good mood today. Another maid asks if she doesn't know that the Queen's husband has woken up. Leon, hiding behind a wall and overhearing them, thinks that the female dragon actually announced to the public that he is her husband. He realizes they have no idea how terrifying the Dragon Queen can be. Last night, Rosweiss's dragon instincts made things very difficult for him, driving him wild. He thinks she squeezed every bit of energy from him throughout the day and night, leaving his waist almost broken. Fueled by anger and clenching his fists, Leon vows that he will never stay here and become her plaything. Leon assesses the situation, hiding behind the wall. He notes that there are 4 dragons guarding the side door, making it impossible to escape through there. He wonders why the Silver Dragon Castle is so quiet today. It's unusually strange. While contemplating this, he notices something and looks to the side, spotting a hole in the wall. He remarks that it's unusual to find a hole here and considers it might be a trap. Despite this, he resolves to escape no matter what, even if it means forcing his way out. As Leon tries to squeeze through the hole, he mutters a farewell to the perverted mother dragon. He acknowledges that while Moon, the little dragon, is very cute, she can only be Rosweiss's for now. From a distance, Moon quietly observes Leon and tells her mother that Dad is digging a hole, and it's cool. Rosweiss acknowledges this, saying he's pretty awesome. Moon asks when her mother will go and fish him back. Rosweiss replies that Moon shouldn't use the phrase fish him back when referring to her father, as it's rude. Moon asks what she should say instead. Rosweiss responds that catch him back would be more appropriate. After some time, Leon successfully escapes through the hole and enters the forest and runs as fast as he can. He thinks that after climbing over these mountains, he should be able to see the borders of human territory. He wonders if the female dragon will be unable to catch up with him after he's run so far. As he hears the sounds of the wind, he looks up at the sky and sees Rosweiss in her dragon form catching up to him. Leon screams in shock at the sight of her. Approaching him, Rosweiss remarks that he is quite a runner. Meanwhile, Leon continues to run as fast as he can, frustrated in his attempt to escape. Rosweiss passes over him and, standing in front of him, asks if he finds this game fun. She expresses her satisfaction and then questions whether he thinks this is too easy. She asks if he doesn't wonder who helped him divert the guards and left the hole for his escape. Leon admits that, even if he had known it was a trap, he had no choice but to try escaping. He just didn't expect her to catch up so quickly. Rosweiss then questions what will happen if he returns to human territory now, with her mark on his chest. She asks if he thinks they will still recognize him as a dragon slayer. Leon responds that he would start a new life as an ordinary person, which is better than being tortured by her. Rosweiss, swinging her wings, says he doesn't know how to appreciate her kindness. She then captures him with her tail and places him on top of her head and start flying. Leon screams, demanding to know where she is taking him and asking her to let him go. Rosweiss replies that since he wants to go back so much, she will help him. 3 hours later, near the border of the Empire, Rosweiss drops Leon from the air near the border. He crashes into a tree, then hits his head to the ground first. Holding his head, Leon complains about the pain. As Leon turns his head and looks ahead, he sees lightning and a small town in the distance. Surprised, he wonders if it is a human town. Rosweiss transforms back into her human form and confirms that it is indeed the human empire. She remarks that although the human town seems close, he cannot return to the human world just by stepping over it. The dragon mark on Rosweiss's chest starts glowing, and the dragon mark on Leon's chest begins to glow in response. Rosweiss then reveals that when one person with a dragon mark desires to be intimate with the other, the dragon marks will react. Leon is shocked by this revelation. Rossweiss pins him against a tree and asks if he is now feeling hot all over, itching to get started, and unable to resist the urge. Leon questions if she wants to do it here. Rossweiss confirms and explains that she wants him to experience the shame in front of his hometown, so close to it. Holding his chest, Leon asserts that if she thinks he will lose faith because of this, she is mistaken. He grabs Rossweiss's hand and loudly declares that he will wait patiently for the opportunity to come. When that time arrives, he will repay her double for all the humiliation she has inflicted on him. Rossweiss listens in silence and closes her eyes, agreeing with his words. She then says that she will be waiting for him, whether he returns alive or dead. Near the Empire border city, Rossweiss and Leon have an intimate moment. Rossweiss, feeling satisfied, dresses and comments that she is very pleased with his performance. On the other hand, Leon is completely drained. Rossweiss places her hand on him and suggests that she could bring him here every month to visit his hometown. Leon, irritated, acknowledges that she is a female dragon with her head in the clouds, dreaming about draining him. Rossweiss, smiling, admits that he has seen through her plans. She then unfurls her wings and says they should go home, as their daughter is waiting for them. Leon tells her to wait. With a questioning look, Rossweiss glances back at him. Leon, walking away, insists that as a dragon slayer, he doesn't want to be treated like prey. He can walk by himself. Rossweiss teases him, noting that it would take at least 3 hours to fly to the Silver Dragon Castle at her speed, and at least 10 days to half a month for a human to walk. Leon responds that it may take 10 days or half a month, but he tells her not to underestimate human endurance. Rossweiss says she wants to see how long he can last. After a while, Leon feels completely energyless and struggles to move. Rossweiss asks if he can no longer walk. If he asks for help, she'll take him back. Leon, though clearly exhausted, denies being tired and questions who said he was. Rossweiss remarks that the only thing tough about him is his mouth. Leon, angry and struggling to speak, finds himself unable to respond. As they talk, Leon notices a group approaching and turns to look. He realizes it's a dragon slayer army and feels hopeful, thinking they might help him get rid of Rossweiss. However, seeing the dark look on Rossweiss's face, he quickly dismisses his earlier thought and realizes that if he calls for help, Rossweiss will undoubtedly kill them without hesitation. The head of the Dragon Slayer army notices their presence and instructs his subordinates to stop for a moment. Looking at Rossweiss and Leon, he asks if they are lost. Leon, scratching his head, replies that they are not lost, just hanging out. Internally, he thinks he cannot involve innocent people in this situation. The man dismounts his horse and comments that the forest is an unusual place to hang out, given its dangerous species and wild animals. He offers to have them join his group. Introducing himself as Walker, the captain of the Imperial Dragon Squadron, he extends his hand. Leon thanks Walker for his kindness and explains that they have learned some self-defense and can protect themselves. Internally, he urges them not to come any closer. Rossweiss, standing behind him with a dark expression, looks at Walker. Noticing Leon, Walker comments that he looks familiar and asks if he has seen him somewhere before. Leon is startled by this and sees Rossweiss's serious expression. Leon, realizing the situation is tense, acts quickly. He grabs Rossweiss's hand, which is charged with aura, and pulls her close, hugging her. Smiling, he tells Walker that he must have mistaken him for someone else. He explains that he has a popular face and that even his wife often misrecognizes him. He asks Rossweiss if he's right. In a low voice, Leon tells Rossweiss that he will return with her obediently if she helps him get rid of the Dragon Slayer army. Rossweiss and Leon, smiling and acting like a sweet couple, maintain their facade. Seeing them close, Walker laughs and says he won't disturb their love. He then leaves with his group. With a serious expression, Rossweiss asks Leon if he hugged her enough. Leon steps back, and Rossweiss remarks that he was smart not to ask for their help. However, she warns him that he needs to understand his own position. Even though they have a child, it doesn't mean she is his wife. Leon, frustrated, insists that he never considered being her husband. Rossweiss turns away, saying they still have a long way to go. As Leon walks, his hand starts causing pain, and his palm wounds. He soon starts losing consciousness and faints on the ground. Hearing the sound, Rossweiss turns around and observes that he has fainted. She comments on how fragile humans are. Rossweiss then releases her power and transforms back into her dragon form. She picks up Leon with her mouth, throws him into the air, and catches him on her back. She starts heading towards her silver dragon castle, noting that this ordeal is meant as a plea for mercy. At the Silver Dragon Castle in the morning, Leon is brought back home by Rosweiss, still unconscious. As he gradually regains consciousness, he slowly opens his eyes. Seeing him awake, Moon cheerfully exclaims, "Dad is awake." Leon notices her and, holding his head, sits up, asking how he ended up back here. Moon tells him that it was Mom who brought him home. Imagining Rosweiss, Leon frustratingly mutters that she finally caught him like prey. Noticing a bandage on his hand, Leon asks about it. Moon, enthusiastically holding his hand, explains that she was the one who bandaged it for him. As Leon looks at Moon, he recalls that dragonologists once said dragons are a ferocious race, spending their lives in violence and blood from childhood. Yet, despite Moon's obvious dragon characteristics, she shows no hostility towards him and treats him completely as her father. Leon wonders if it's because she is a human-dragon hybrid. Patting Moon's head affectionately, Leon praises her, saying, "Moon is awesome." In response, she smiles cutely. Carefully, Leon tells Moon that she's very cute, but when she grows up, she must not become like her mother. Moon listens, unsure of what to make of it. At that moment, Rosweiss, standing at the door, asks what's wrong with being like her. Taken aback by her voice, Leon remains silent. Leon looks away, annoyed, and mutters, "Nothing." Moon, eager to show, proudly displays Leon's bandaged hand to Rosweiss, saying cheerfully that she bandaged Dad's wound according to her instructions. Rosweiss, wearing a cold expression, states that this is what she should do. Innocent Moon happily agrees with her mother, Rosweiss. Looking at the Moon, Leon thinks about what a strict mother Rosweiss is. Patting Moon's head affectionately, he asks her why she doesn't go hide in the garden first. He'll come find her when he counts to 100. Cheerfully, Moon asks Leon if Dad really wants to play hide and seek with her. Leon proudly assures her that he's not like her mother and urges her to go quickly and hide. As Leon cheekily starts counting, Moon runs toward the garden, telling Dad not to count so fast. Rosweiss watches their playful interaction in silence. While Leon continues to count slowly, Moon dashes away, and Leon watches her affectionately. As she leaves, he turns to Rosweiss with a serious expression and says he wants to talk to her. Rosweiss asks what it is, and Leon angrily questions why she is being too hard on Moon. Rosweiss responds that all dragons went through this. She believes that only by being strict from a young age can they cultivate strong warriors. Leon retorts that she isn't entirely a dragon, and besides, Moon is so cute. He asks if Rosweiss can really bear it. Rosweiss replies that she is a dragon, and cute is a derogatory term for one. Leon arrogantly asserts that she's pretty cute too. Hearing Leon's words, Rosweiss becomes angry and looks at him with a serious expression. She rashly grabs his collar and pulls him closer, glaring at him as she says he's just a slave for her to vent her frustrations on. She tells him to stop getting ahead of her. In response, Leon makes a cute crying face. Rosweiss then hugs him, saying it's good that he understands. She reminds him that she is the queen of the Silver Dragon clan and has many government affairs to handle, so the task of taking care of the children falls to him. Leaning in closer, she whispers in Leon's ear that the kid likes him. They then part ways, and Leon heads to the garden. As he walks through the garden, Leon repeats Rosweiss's words to himself, "She's the dragon queen and very busy." He muses that it's as if dragon slayers are responsible for taking care of the children. Suddenly, he notices Moon hiding behind a pillar, peeking at him. Leon thinks to himself that Moon is still too naive, wondering if she believes he can't find her while she's hiding behind him. Pointing at her, he loudly exclaims, "Found you, Moon." But there's no response, she simply stares at him, her expression is cold. Feeling awkward, Leon falls silent, and only the sound of the wind can be heard. He wonders if Moon is angry, given her lack of reaction. Scratching his head, he apologizes, saying he's sorry for making her wait. Without a word, Moon suddenly starts running away. Taken aback, Leon chases after her, asking what's wrong. As she continues to run, he calls out, "Moon, why are you running?" Moon turns the corner and runs away, leaving Leon puzzled as he can't find her. He mutters to himself that she's gone, though he just saw her pass by. Leon thinks it's really hard to predict a child's mood, which explains why Rosweiss assigned him the task of taking care of her. As Leon contemplates this, Moon returns and peeks at him from behind. Cheerfully, she hugs him from the back, exclaiming that she caught Dad. Leon is surprised and asks her why she just ran past him. Moon looks at him with a clueless expression. Moon says that she didn't. and explains that since Dad couldn't find her, she came out to look for him. Leon, taken aback by her words, wonders if he sees it wrong. Moon then takes his hand, dragging him along, saying she has something to show him and asks him to come with her. Leon agrees to follow her. Meanwhile, another Moon watches Leon from behind. This other version, clenching her tiny fists, looks at him with determination and hesitance. It seems she wants to get closer but finds it difficult because of her nature. It becomes clear that Rosweiss gave birth to twins, one with her cold characteristics and another with Leon's cheerful spirit. Moon takes Leon to a spot in the garden. Humming joyfully, she draws a picture. Leon sits nearby, affectionately watching his cute daughter as she works on her drawing. With a happy smile, he thinks how wonderful it is to have a daughter. It feels as if his soul is healed. As Moon finishes her drawing, she inspects it closely. Leon, clenching his fist with determination, resolves that he will help her escape from the clutches of the mother dragon sooner or later. Moon cheerfully approaches Leon, showing him her drawing. "Dad, look. I drew a family portrait." Leon smiles and tells her that she is awesome and truly worthy of being her daddy's daughter. However, when he sees a family of 4 in the drawing instead of just 3 people, he wonders about it. Pointing to the other child in the picture, he asks Moon, "Why are there 2 kids here?" With a cheerful grin, Moon replies, "That's her sister." Leon is shocked to hear this revelation. He realizes that he didn't just hit the target with 1 shot but actually hit it twice. Holding his head, he thinks that the child he saw in the garden just moments ago must be her. No wonder she was angry when he called her by the wrong name. Moon observes her father's struggle with his thoughts. Moon then adds, Moon thinks her sister isn't angry, she's just a little shy when she sees Dad. Leon, wearing a thoughtful expression, agrees with Moon, noting that since they haven't met each other much, it's normal for them not to be familiar. As he looks at the dragon castle, he internally thinks that it's all the dragon's fault for hiding this child from him. He resolves to ask Rosweiss for the truth. If you guys enjoy my recaps, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Make sure to watch till the end. In Rosweiss's study room, she reviews the affairs of the Silver Dragon Castle while a small, cute dragon observes her, making tiny sounds. Suddenly, both Rosweiss and the little dragon hear a commotion and turn toward the door. Leon bursts into the room, slamming the door angrily as he calls out Rosweiss's name. The little dragon, startled by Leon's sudden and fierce intrusion, flinches. Rosweiss, placing a document into a letter, asks where Moon is. Leon responds that she went to play with her sister. Angrily, he adds that Rosweiss is really good at hiding things. He demands to know when she was going to tell him that he has an older daughter. Rosweiss questions him, asking if he doesn't already know this by now. In frustration, Leon slams his fist on the bench and expresses his annoyance. He says he has to thank her, giving birth to a child is hard work, and he never expected that she had given him 2 children. She has worked so hard. Leon yells that when he returns to the Empire someday, he will definitely include Rosweiss's name in their family tree. Hearing his harsh words, Rosweiss looks at him with a serious expression. Folding her arms and smirking, she asks if he knows why she didn't tell him about the existence of her eldest daughter. Leon questions her reason, then speculates that she is jealous of his closeness to Moon and is deliberately keeping Noah from meeting him as her father. Rosweiss inquires if he is so eager to see her. Leon, speaking arrogantly, replies that it's nonsense, who wouldn't want to meet their daughter? He asserts that he is not like her, a cold and stern mother, he wants to cultivate a good relationship with his child. Rosweiss, still smirking, agrees to show him but warns him not to regret it. In the kitchen, Leon laughs as he holds a knife in his hands and calls out Rosweiss's name. As he cuts vegetables with the knife, he declares that he's going to impress her today. This is his first step toward getting closer to his eldest daughter, winning her over with delicious food. While cooking, he thinks about how he used to make this cream stew often for the team. Everyone who had tasted it said it was good, and its sweet flavor is perfect for children. Leon tastes the stew and remarks that it is not bad, his cooking skills are still sharp. Proudly, he thinks that this flavor will definitely win Noah over. After eating the stew, he imagines Noah saying how much she loves the food her dad cooks the most. Humming happily, he continues preparing meals for his beloved daughters. Outside the kitchen, the maids watch Leon through the window. One maid comments that the prince has just recovered from a serious illness and is still cooking for his family, showing what a good male dragon he is for caring about them. The other maid notices something and looks aside. Rosweiss walks towards the kitchen, bringing her 2 daughters, Moon and Noah. The maids, seeing Rosweiss, bow and greet her as Her Majesty. Moon enthusiastically waves at them, while Noah, mirroring her mother, coldly stares without acknowledging them. Rosweiss tells the maids that they don't need to wait for orders at dinner tonight and instructs them to go and rest. The two maids bow again in gratitude, thanking Her Majesty. Meanwhile, Leon is in the kitchen preparing the dining table as he finishes cooking. As Rosweiss enters the kitchen with the children, Leon says they arrived just in time. Moon cheerfully runs toward Leon, exclaiming, "Dad, what a nice smell." Leon, smiling, responds that he heard they both love meat the most, so he made stew and steak especially for them. With a proud smile, Leon wonders if Noah can sense her father's feelings. When Leon looks at Noah, he finds her staring coldly and she looks away, not uttering a word. Taken aback by her reaction, Leon's jaw drops in shock. He awkwardly thinks about why her response is different from what he expected. As he glances at Rosweiss, noticing her arrogant and cold demeanor, Leon clenches his teeth in frustration, realizing that the female dragon must have anticipated this situation and deliberately prevented him from meeting Noah. Rosweiss then tells Noah that this is her first formal meeting and instructs her to introduce herself. Noah complies with her mother's request. Standing before Leon with the same cold demeanor as her mother. Placing her hands on her waist, she introduces herself as Noah K. Melkveh, the eldest daughter of the Silver Dragon Queen, Rosweiss. She's 1 year and 2 months old. Dragons are an immortal race, and baby dragons grow faster than human children. Leon extends his hand cheerfully to greet Noah, introducing himself as Leon Cosmode, her father. This is his first step to getting closer to his eldest daughter, to say hello politely and leave a good impression. Noah coldly and simply responds with "oh," offering no more words and showing no emotion on her face. Leon awkwardly smiles, wondering why this child is so cold, and he begins to question if she holds a grudge against him. Moon whispers in Noah's ear, urging her to engage more and not to embarrass their dad. In response, Noah folds her arms, looking at Leon coldly. She remarks that he seems weak and asks if he is really their father. Leon, hearing her words, he looks weak, and if he is really their father, those words cut deep, striking at his pride. Leon coughs blood, feeling the weight of her statement. Leon, looking at Noah grinning his teeth and holding his chest, he thinks about what a filial daughter he has. Leon's career as a father faces his first crisis.
Well, the family dinners are supposed to be the best occasion for family members to talk and communicate, but now it has become Leon's most tormenting moment. After that, Moon tells her sister to help her in cutting the meal. Meanwhile, seeing them, Leon thinks the two daughters look similar, but their personalities are completely different, and it's obvious that Noah is more like her mother. After thinking all that, he asks Noah that, "Do you like today's food?" Then she replies, "It's literally disgusting." After listening to her, Rosweiss starts laughing. Then looking at her laughing, Moon asks Rosweiss that, "Mom, why are you so happy?" After which she replies, "Your father finally got to reunite with our family. Seeing him so happy, I am naturally happy too." Then she asks him, "Right, Leon, why aren't you smiling?" After listening to her, he also starts laughing fakingly and replies to her, "Of course I am happy to be with my family." Then Moon asks him, "Dad, can you have dinner with us every day?" After which he thinks, "I don't want to eat with this female dragon every day." And Noah tells her sister that it's not possible. After which she asks her why not. Then she replies, "Because I want to study at the Young Dragon Department of St. Heath Academy." After that, Rosweiss tells her that the Young Dragon Department of St. Heath Academy is full of dragons that are 4 or 5 years old. And also asks her, "Why are you so anxious to enroll?" Then she replies, "Because I want to defeat more dragon slayers." After listening to this, Leon suddenly starts coughing and thinks, "It seems that this child wants to defeat me, her own father." Then he tells her that dragon slayers are all very brave. "Noah, you are still so young, you will get hurt." After which she replies, "Don't treat me like a child." Then he thinks in his mind with frustration, "You are a child." After that, Rosweiss says, "I think Noah's idea is pretty good." And she tells Noah that the sooner you learn the skills, the sooner you can fight the dragon slayer. After that, to tease Leon, she looks at her and asks him, "Isn't that right, Leon? Or do you have any reason to stop Noah from going to school?" Then after listening to her, he thinks, if I continue to oppose it, Noah will definitely hate me as a father even more. I can only change her mind subtly. After thinking all that, he replies, "No, no more." And thinks, "Damn, I finally know it, this female dragon wants to use Noah to mentally attack me during this dinner." Just you wait, Rosweiss, you're going to get your ass kicked later. After that, Rosweiss tells Noah that since your father's okay with it, it's happily decided. The entrance test for St. Heath's Academy will be held in a month. During this month, your father will help you prepare. After that, the dinner ends and Moon tells her sister, look, Moon's belly is round. Then while Rosweiss is leaving, suddenly Leon calls her from behind and tells her that these plates haven't been cleaned yet. After which she replies, just let the servants do this. Then he puts his hand on her shoulder and tells her that after dinner, the couple cleans up and washes the plates together. This is the correct way to end a family dinner. Don't you want to create a harmonious family atmosphere in front of them? Even if it's just fake. After listening to him, Rosweiss looks at her daughters and replies, all right. Then Moon tells them that she also wants to help. After which, suddenly, Noah grabs her from behind and takes her with her. Meanwhile, wearing the apron, she also Leon. When are you going to help? Then he also asks her, have you forgotten what I said 2 years ago? And also tells her that you should never be alone with a highly trained and strongest dragon slayer. After which she asks her, Leon, what do you want to do? Then he replies, before, I traveled a long distance and was exhausted, so I was controlled and played with your dragon pattern. Now it is different. After that, she angrily tells him that don't think you can escape from here by using this trick, and also tries to attack him with her tail, but Leon stops her and replies, who said I was going to run away? After that, she screams out of pain she got from Leon's grip on her tail. Then he asks her that, are you unable to do anything, Her Majesty? And tells her that the dragon pattern makes your tail extremely sensitive. When your tail is pinched, you are like a kitten being pinched by the back of the neck, weak and powerless. This is the new knowledge I discovered from your dragon book. Rosweiss, you dragons are eager to conquer and control everything, but have you ever been conquered?
After that, Rosweiss takes a long breath and tells Leon that, let go of my tail. Then while holding her tail, Leon replies, from the day I woke up, you trampled my dignity underfoot and treated me as a tool for entertainment. After listening to him, Rosweiss gets angry, and she angrily asks him, what do you think about us switching things up tonight? Leon, you idiot! Then suddenly, both Leon and Rosweiss notice something, and they listen to the voice of someone coming towards the room. Meanwhile, outside at the room's door, a maid asks her fellow maid that I wonder if Her Majesty the Queen and her family loving time is over? After that, both of them enter the room and see the room is so neat and clean. Then one of the maids surprisingly asks her fellow maid, was it the prince who did it? Meanwhile, when the maids are talking with each other in room, Leon holds Rosweiss's chicks and tells her that hush, be quiet, Her Majesty. You don't want to be discovered by the maids outside. The queen who is usually so high and mighty has become like this, right? After hearing all this, she starts staring at him. Then he comes close to her and tells her, well done, let's get started, my dear wife. After that, both of them looked at each other, and what happened after that, well, it's a secret. Meanwhile, 3 days later, while looking Leon sleeping on the bed, Moon says Dad hasn't woken up for 3 days. Is he dead? Then her elder sister Noah replies, just wait and see. After that, she puts her foot on his face, which seems painful for him and funny for us. After that, she tells her younger sister Moon that he is not dead yet. And while looking at this, Moon asks her, is there anyone who treats his father like this? After that, Leon opens his eyes, and while looking at this, Moon gets happy. Then with full of happiness and excitement, Moon tells her mother that Mom, Dad is awake again. And on the other side, Leon is asking himself, when did I faint, like he doesn't know what happened before that he slept over for 3 days. After listening to him, Rosweiss asks him, do you need me to help you recall? Then after hearing her, he thinks I remembered that after that night, the dragon pattern was invalidated and I was hit hard by her. This female dragon is so cruel. If I was an ordinary person, I would have died several times under her claws. If you look closely, she is quite pretty. She is clearly a female dragon over 200 years old. Meanwhile, looking at him, Mon asks her sister, why isn't Dad moving? Then Noah replies, he just looked at our mother and was stunned. On the other side, a flower drops down through Rosweiss's hand, but Leon picks it up and puts it on her head, and also tells her that this one is quite suitable to you. After that, she smiles and tells him, I didn't expect you to be so considerate, and also asks him, have you done this for other women before? Then with full of confidence, he replies, that is, when I was a kid, I often combed the hair of my master's donkey, and I was very skilled at it. After listening to him, Moon gets curious and asks him, Dad, what is a donkey? Then with showing hand signs to explain her in brief, he replies, donkeys are similar to dragons, with 2 ears and a tail. They are very stubborn and like to hum when they are unhappy, just like your mother. After hearing this suddenly, Leon gets hit by someone. Well, yeah, it was Rosweise. Meanwhile, Moon asks him, Dad, are you okay? Then he replies, I'm fine. After which Rosweise tells her daughter that your task today is to learn how to write your name. Your father will teach you. After listening to her, Leon says from behind, you assigned me another task without my permission. Then Moon gets happy and says, yay, Dad will teach us how to write. And her sister Noah says, I can write. After that, Moon tells Noah's sister, let's go to the study room to find a pen with nice colors. And while running, she also asks her, which color do you want? And she replies, purple. After that, Rosweise tells her, my sister is coming to visit me today. I don't want you to appear in front of her. After listening to her, he asks her, what? You won't let me meet your family too? Then she comes close to him and replies, Leon Cosmody, you are now a male dragon who married into the Silver Dragon clan. You have been in a coma for 2 years due to some disease and have just woken up recently. If it comes to the point where we have to meet, you'll have to play along with the identity I've made up. After hearing her carefully, Leon replies, got it, Her Majesty. Then while she is leaving, Leon thinks female dragon. Do you think I will listen to you obediently? Rosweise, I'm going to embarrass you in front of your sister. Meanwhile, later at the study room, Leon tells her daughters that just follow what I taught you just now and watch it. Just like this. Then while giving them their names written on a paper sheet, he tells them that I wrote your names here. Please imitate this and write them a few times. After looking at the sheet where the name is written, Noah tells him that it's not as good as what my mother wrote. Then, while looking at him, that he is standing up, Moon asks his dad, what is Dad going to do? After which he replies, I just forgot to give something to your mother. I'm going to give it to her. I'll come back to check later. Meanwhile, looking at him, Noah says, is he stupid? Then Moon tells her, but you seems to be somewhat happy. After which Noah replies, no, I'm not, and tells her that go and write it down quickly. Then she looks at the name carefully. Meanwhile, later at the Silver Dragon Castle's gate, we sees Rosweise's sister Isha Melvi, Red Dragon Queen. Then looking at her, Rosweise suddenly hugs her and says, sister, long time no see. And she also tells her, I haven't seen you for a year. You look much more rosy. After hearing her, Rosweise replies, really no, I don't think. So, then Isha tells her, I heard your husband has woken up, and asks her, why can't I see him? After which Rosweise replies, he is feeling a little unwell today and cannot meet for the time being. Then after hearing him, she says, is that so? What a pity. I also want to see what the Dragon King who kidnapped my sister looks like. After that, she comes close to her and tells her that Dragon King's bonding is all about profit and clan. There is no love involved. But you and the man in your family who got married and had a baby at the speed of light, your relationship should be very good, right? After hearing her, she asks her, does being married and having children mean that the relationship is good? And also tells her that I am not attracted to him, not now and not in the future. After listening to her, Isha thinks still like to be tough as before. Then Rosweise holds her hand and tells her that, okay, it's been a while since we last met. Let's go to the garden and chat while walking. Meanwhile, looking both of them with a long binocular, Leon says, so she is Rosweise's sister. Then, let me try to see how far the dragon pattern can reach. Meanwhile, in the garden, Isha tells her that the Dragon Clan has been a little unstable lately, especially the Red Flame Dragon King. That guy has been very active recently. After listening to her, Rosweise asks her, Constantine, really? Hasn't Constantine not been seen for years? Then her sister Isha replies, who knows, he is a hot-tempered guy. Maybe he wants to take the opportunity to expand his territory. After that, suddenly Rosweise notices that something unusual is happening with her and also thinks at this time. Then her sister asks her what's wrong. After which she replies, "No, nothing, sister. Please continue." Then she looks towards the castle and thinks, "Damn Dragon Slayer." After that, Isha tells her that just in case, we need to strengthen the border defense. I will also send Shinlong to contact you if there are any new developments over there. Meanwhile, on the other, Rosweise thinks the effect of the dragon pattern is getting stronger and stronger. If it continues like this, when she is thinking all that, suddenly her sister asks her little Rose, "Are you really okay? Your face is red." Then Rosweise replies, "Sister, I suddenly remember that I have something urgent to deal with. I will be back in about 20 minutes. After listening to her, Isha says, "Go ahead," and asks her, "Do you want me to accompany you?" Then she replies, "No need for that." After which, Isha thinks dragon pattern. Hee. Young people are playing around with it. Meanwhile, on the other hand, sitting inside the room, Leon thinks Rosweise, "I want to see how long you can endure." After that, suddenly Rosweise enters that room. And while looking at her, that she is totally freaked, he asks her, "Hey, how come you're back so soon?" After that, she angrily grabs his collar and asks him that you deliberately chose this time to make the dragon pattern resonate, just to embarrass me in front of my sister? Then, looking at her anger, he thinks I'd better pretend to be innocent and fool you. After that, he starts pretending innocent and asks her, "Is it wrong for me to want you?" Then she suddenly backs off. And while looking at her, he thinks, looks like it worked? At least she's disgusted by me now, right? Then she tells him that shame, shameless. A defeated prisoner is talking such rubbish. Put away your dirty thoughts. After that, she thinks I clearly came here to deal with him, so why did I get scared by just a few words from him? Then she tells him that you're lucky this time. If you do this again next time, I won't let you go. After hearing her, he teases her from behind and tells her that I'm so scared. Then he thinks a single dirty word can make her so helpless. This dragon pattern is really powerful, but why is it that when I think of her face, my heart beats so fast? Kaz mode, wake up and stop thinking about nonsense. The kids are still waiting for me to come back. Meanwhile, later at the Silver Dragon Castle's gate, Isha tells her that then I will leave today. After listening to her, Rosweise politely tells her sister that, be careful on the road. Then her sister, after changing into a big red dragon, tells her that please let me meet your husband next time. After which she replies, okay, we'll talk next time. Then after all that conversation, she leaves the castle with her servants. After that, Rosweise thinks, damn Dragon Slayer, I still haven't taught him enough lesson. I'm going to teach him a lesson tonight. Meanwhile, sitting in Muin's and Noah's bedroom, Leon suddenly sneezes. And after sneezing, he thinks, is that female dragon scolding me? Then he looks at her daughters and thinks they're all asleep. Let me give them the blanket so they don't catch a cold. After that, when he is closing the door, suddenly Rosweise comes there and asks him, where do you want to go? Then he also asks her, your sister is gone? After which she looks at him with a demonic smile and tells him that, humph, we still have things to do today. Then she suddenly pulls him towards her bedroom. Meanwhile, later at her bedroom, Leon puts the hot water bucket in front of her and asks her, the hot water is here. What do you want it for? Then she replies, I'm very tired after walking all day. Please wash my feet for me. After listening to her, he gets shocked. Then she tells him that stop talking nonsense and do what you are told. This is the punishment for what you did today. Meanwhile, doing the thing that she said him to do, he thinks I am a dragon slayer, but I have to become a foot-washing slave of a female dragon. The damn female dragon really knows how to enjoy herself. I don't know how many corpses of dragon slayers she has stepped on with her feet. After that, Rosweise looks at him and thinks, why is he staring at my feet? Could it be some disgusting habit? After that, he suddenly puts her feet on the hot water bucket. Then she suddenly kicks him in the face and tells him that it's so hot. After that, she puts her feet on his chest and asks him, Leon, you are trying to take revenge on me on purpose, right? Then he smiles and says, who asked me to wash your feet? After which steps her feet on his stomach and asks him that you never thought that one day will you be stepped on by a dragon? Then, because of pain, he tells her that stop, damn, this humiliating yet comfortable feeling. After which she replies, I want to see how long you can endure. Then he thinks, no, I cannot succumb to the tyranny of the female dragon. After that, he grabs her leg and tells her that I've eaten pigs' trotters, cows' trotters, and goats' trotters, but I've never eaten dragons' trotters. Then she gets scared and asks him, what are you going to do? After which he says, tonight's snack raw dragon claws, and suddenly bites her leg. Then she screams Leon Cass mode, I'm going to kill you. Meanwhile, the next day, the kids wake up and see their mom and ask her mom, why do you limp when you walk? Then she replies, nothing. After which, Moon sees his father and also asks him, Dad, why are there bruises on your face? Then he replies to her Tuan the same way that it's nothing. After listening to both mom and dad replying in the same way, she feels strange. Then suddenly she says, you must have played some fun games without telling Moon. Moon wants to join too. Meanwhile, later in the garden outside the Silver Dragon Castle, while seeing Rosweiss and Leon walking together, a maid tells her fellow partner that, look, the queen and the prince are dating. What a lovely couple. Then the other maid asks her how going, but why do I feel like Her Majesty the Queen and the Prince don't seem to be very familiar with each other? On the other side, after noticing Rosweiss's strange behavior, Leon thinks, why did it become like this? There is something wrong with Rosweiss today. She was not usually so proactive. What is she planning? Meanwhile, looking them from hiding behind the tree, Moon says, hey, Dad is so stupid, he can't even hold hands. After that, she runs towards them. Noah tries to stop her, but she doesn't stops and calls her parents from behind. Then looking at her running towards them, Leon asks her, Muen, why did you follow me? Then she puts their hands on each other's hands and tells them that when taking a walk, you should hold hands together. After saying that, she leaves. After listening to her, he thinks, where did this child learn all this knowledge? Meanwhile, on the other side, Noah pulls Muen's cheeks. Muen cries and says, Muen was wrong. Muen won't dare to do it again. Sister, please let go. After that, while holding Rosweiss's hand, Leon says, this is a bit unexpected, and asks her, what should I do? And she replies, okay, it's okay, just hold it like this. After listening to her, he tells her that you seem to be extra docile today. I'm a little uncomfortable with this. Then Rosweisser replies, it seems that you have been tamed by me. Now when I get along with you well, you are not used to it. After that, while walking with her, he suddenly looks at her and thinks, Rosweissa has always been the image of a queen in front of others, but I didn't expect that she would be shaken by such a small matter as holding hands. Maybe her image as a strict mother is simply because she doesn't know how to get close to her children. After thinking all that, he tells her that, by the way, Mun and Noah always call you mother in front of you. Then after listening to him, she asks him, is there a problem? After which, he tells her that, well, you see, according to the normal way of calling, dad is always used with mom. Mun always calls me dad, but calls you mother. After telling her that, he asks her, doesn't it seem that she is more distant from you? Then she also asks him, is there really a big difference between mother and mom? After which he replies, of course. Why not try to get them to call you mom instead? I bet they will definitely be closer to you than they are now. After that, she suddenly feels something odd and says, got it, I will try next time, and starts running with him. Meanwhile, looking at her strange behavior, he asks her, hey, why are you walking so fast suddenly? Then she asks him, hey, Leon, are you homesick? After which he also asks her, why are you asking this all of a sudden? And says, you won't let me go back anyway. Then she replies, I can't make you go home, but there's something that might help ease your homesickness a little. Meanwhile, standing in front of Castle Warehouse Gate, Leon asks her, what place is this? Then she replies, I didn't give it a name. You can call it a warehouse, a utility room, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Meanwhile, walking inside the warehouse, Leon looks at something and says, the dragon's treasure trove. After opening it with excitement, he says if this were placed in the Empire, it could be sold for at least hundreds of thousands of gold coins. Then Rosweissa tells him that that's the bracelet my grandmother gave me when I was a child. In addition to the spoils, there are also some things that are meaningful to me. After listening to her, Leon tells her that I haven't heard you talk much about your other family members except your sister. Then she replies, I have never seen my father and mother, and also tells him that my sister and I were raised by our grandmother. After which he stands up and tells her that, oh, that's similar to me. I grew up in an orphanage and never met my parents. I was adopted by my master and his wife. Then he asks her, so, why exactly did you bring me here to show me? After which she replies, I just had something that can temporarily make you forget your troubles. Then she opens a treasure vault and Leon sees a black gold armor inside it, which makes him shocked. After which she asks him, Leon, you've always wanted to get this armor back, right? Then Leon says, I am not dreaming, and asks her, are you really going to give it to me? After which, with a creepy face, she smiles and replies, that's right! Then Leon tries to touch the armor, but sees an enchanted dragon mark on it. After looking at the armor, he says, black gold armor, my good brother, how come you have fallen too? Then she tells him that, heh, you finally fell into the trap, Leon. After which he asks her, what did you do? Rosweise. Then she replies, I have attached a dragon pattern on the surface of your armor that enhances its properties. The moment you touch the armor, it will activate. After that, Leon starts feeling uncomfortable and tells her that despicable female dragon, I was careless! Then she replies, the enhances dragon pattern has doubled its effect. After which she goes close to him and asks him, my dear dragon slayer, can you bear it? Then she pushes him away. Meanwhile, lying down, Leon thinks, damn it, I can't move my body, but the urge in my lower body is stronger than ever. After that, she also lies on top of him and asks him, do you think that I don't bear any grudge for conquering me before? Then she tells him that these past few days, I have been thinking about how to take revenge on you and how to make you let down your guard, but I didn't expect you to be fooled so easily. After listening to her, he feels shocked and angry too. Then she asks him, how about my acting skills? Isn't that pretty good? After listening to her, he gets shocked and asks her, are all the things you told me today false? You have never met your parents, and about letting men call you mom and hold hands. Then she replies, no, that's all true, but it doesn't affect what I'm going to do to you now, Leon. After which she asks him, what did you tell me before? Then he replies, oh, whether I like to conquer. After which she says, haha, yes, I do like to conquer, and asks him, are you ready, my dear husband? Then she puts his PP inside her PC, and both of them start having a good time with each other in the warehouse. Then after a while, Leon thinks finally it's over, and while noticing that she is looking at him, he asks her, what are you doing? After which she presses his cheeks and tells him that, compared to 2 years ago, the scars on your face have faded a little, but you look more haggard and vicissitudes of life, and has more of the flavor of a mature man. After that, with frustration, he tells her that you're trying to play tricks on me again. I won't fall for it again. Then she looks at him and tells him that you've become smarter, but your health is not as good as before. Leon, you are not in the same shape as before. You're not as fit as you used to be, not as good as before. After listening to all that, he suddenly shouts with frustration. Meanwhile, next day, Leon opens the room's door with sleepy eyes and sees Rosweise and Noah standing outside the door. Then, Rosweise tells him that it seems you didn't sleep well last night. After which, he angrily tells her that it's all because of what you said. Then Rosweise replies, really? I don't remember. Meanwhile, looking at them, Noah thinks IT starts again. After which, Rosweise tells him that the entrance exam to St. Heath Academy is very strict. You should start tutoring Noah on dragon knowledge today. After all, you can only demonstrate your value in other areas for the time being. After listening to her, he angrily replies, damn it, yesterday I was just not in a good state. And while pointing the finger towards her, he tells her that I will make Noah pass the test. But at the same time, I want to use this opportunity to exchange something of equal value from you. Then she replies, it's okay to agree to your request, but your request can't be too excessive. After that, he says, a promise is a promise. Then while leaving, she says, then you should study hard. Dear, don't be too tired. After that, Noah asks him, why did you quarrel with mom? Then he replies, no, just daily communication. After which, he suddenly notices something and asks her, wait a minute. What did you call her? Then she replies, Mom. After listening to her, he asks her, did she ask you to change the name to that? Did you prefer the old name or the current one? Then Noah replies, current. After listening to her, he smiles and says, I told you guys you'd love it. Then she starts going inside the study room with the Dragon Encyclopedia and asks him, when can we start studying? Meanwhile, in the Silver Dragon Castle Children's Study Room, while sitting on the chair, Leon remembers what happened that night after the warehouse good time. That time, Rossweisse came to ask him that, "Yo, it's so late, you haven't slept yet?" After that, he told her that Noah has a strong ability to learn and comprehend, so simple teaching is not suitable for her. I plan to organize some key knowledge points and combine them with test questions to teach her. Now I can only stay up late to organize the lesson plans. Noah is a very smart child, so I am confident that I can get her to pass the test within a month. And that time after listening to him, she replied, "That's inevitable. After all, Noah follows Meh." Then he told her that that's not necessarily true. I was a dragon-slaying genius who graduated with first place in both written exams and practical tests every year. I received all the highest level scholarships in the school. So what about you, Her Majesty? What champion are you? After listening to him, she gets shocked and thinks I always thought he was a reckless man who only knew how to fight and kill, but I didn't expect he was also a top student. Then she asked him, "You are so powerful, then how come you became my prisoner?" After which he replied, "Damn it, I lost that one time." Then that time he turned his back and said, "One misstep can lead to eternal regret. A tiger in troubled times is bullied by a dragon." After which she told him that you are afraid of being ridden by a dragon. After which she saw a chili pepper on his table and asked him, "What are you going to do with this?" Then he replies, "Oh, this one I took it from the kitchen to refresh myself." After listening to him, she got shocked and tried to stop him and told him, "Wait, this is the dragon's yellow pepper. You are a human. I'm afraid you can't bear it." But unfortunately, he ate it and felt like a dragon spitting out the fire from mouth. After that, he started roaming here to search for water because of the unbearable spiciness of the chili pepper. Then suddenly, that time to Rossweisse stopped him and put her hand on his face and told him that, "Well, my hands are cooler and will make you feel more comfortable." After which he felt really good and started thinking that Rossweisse's fingertips are icy cold and the places they are touching is very comfortable. It's not as sharp and irritating as ice, but a very gentle coolness. After that, he says, "Thank you, it's okay now." Then both of them felt embarrassed that time. After that, while leaving, she told him that go to bed early and don't eat too much chili. If your mouth gets spicy, you will have to teach Noah in sign language. After that, remembering all the past incidents, he thinks I actually wanted her to touch my face more just now. Wake up, she is the evil dragon who tricked you into a small corner, squeezed you like crazy, and finally said that you don't have enough physical strength. Just thinking about it is a bit perverted. I need to find a way to make my body recover quickly. Red dragon fruit has the effect of regulating chi and blood. That's not it. Lotus grass, taken internally, can regulate digestive function and applied externally to treat injuries. But this is not it. Found it. This is it. After that next day, he tells Noah that the test you just took has been corrected. The full score is 100. Guess how much you got? Then she replies 50. After which he shows her grades to her and says 62 points, higher than you expected. But after seeing Noah still not feeling satisfied and happy, he thinks, are you not satisfied with your grades? Yes, this kid has high standards for herself. She should be playing carefree like Muen, but she took the initiative to go to school to study. After that, he puts his hand on her head like a real father and tells her that you got 62 points on your first try. That's pretty impressive. Then she looks at his eyes and says, thanks to him. Then she gives a candy to him and tells him that it was Mom who gave it to you, not me. After taking it from her, he tells her that please tell your mom thank you for me. And while going to eat the candy, he thinks this child is just like Rossweisse, cold on the surface, but actually just no good at expressing her kindness. Then, after putting the candy in his mouth, Leon tells Noah that let's continue learning.
Meanwhile, later at Silver Dragon Castle kitchen, Maid tells Leon that Lord Prince, the herbs you asked me to find are all here. Then he replies, okay, put them all here. After that, while they were leaving, he thinks I specifically asked them for some extra herbs so that they wouldn't guess what I was going to do. The medicinal materials needed to prepare Dragon Great Force is very common, and it seems that the steps of refining are not too complicated. But why does it say above that even the most outstanding pharmacist of the Dragon Clan has a low chance of successfully concocting Dragon Great Force? After that, while making the medicine, he thinks first, grind and mix the herbs you want to use. Then put these herbs into the pot in order and boil them. Then a few hours later, he says failed again. It's not that easy. I followed the instructions in the book several times, but each time I failed at the last step of drug purification and separation. The high-temperature separation method described in the book, too high temperature will cause the drug to be inactivated, and too low temperature will not be able to quench pure drugs. It is impossible to achieve the separation effect by just shaking it manually, and professional instruments are needed. The master often says that if one way doesn't work, look for other ways. Are there any other effective ways to separate the medicinal residue? After that, he suddenly sees that thunder is happening outside the window. After that, he goes towards the window, and while looking at thundering, he remembers something, and says, I remember the teacher once said in the alchemy class that electrolysis of impurities sometimes has a higher success rate than roasting with fire. After that, he goes back to the place where he is making medicine and thinks, maybe we can try to use the thunder element, which is not mentioned in this book. I am best at lightning magic, and now I have only recovered a little bit of my magic power. But it's more than enough for this kind of subtle manipulation. Then half an hour later, he finally gets success. After that, while seeing the medicine, he thinks the Dragon Clan's medicine is quite simple to make. Then suddenly Immune comes there, and with full of curiosity she asks him, Dad, what are you making? After looking at her, he gets panicked, but after making himself calm, he replies to her that nothing. Then while looking at him, she thinks that candy in Dad's hand. After that, he tells her that this is the medicine that Dad made for Imoam. Then she again asks him, medicine for Imoam? Is Imoam sick? After that, he replies, no. I saw that your Imoam has been too busy recently, so I will give her some nourishment. Don't worry. And on the other side, he thinks, actually, I made it for myself to eat. After listening to him, Yoon says, then Dad, you must take good care of Imoam. Then he replies, of course, that's what a dad should do, and thinks, I'll really take good care of her when I've recovered. Meanwhile, lying down in his bedroom, Leon thinks, although Dragon Great Force has been cultivated, I wonder if the Dragon Clan's nutritional supplements will have negative effects on humans? Let's put it aside for now. After that, he notices that someone is coming inside his room and finds out that it's Rosweiss and asks her, why are you here? Then she replies, I heard from you that you made me a medicine that looked like chocolate candy to regulate my body. Then he thinks my little cotton padded jacket leaked out so quickly. After that, she tells him that don't be nervous. I'm not here to question you or anything. I'm just surprised that you can make medicine in such a simple environment. Then she suddenly comes close to him and asks him, what did you refine? Can you show it to me? After listening to her, he replies, even if I said no, you would still use violence to take it away. Then Rosweiss says, that's good. You are really amazing, Leon. To be able to refine such perfect Dragon Great Force under such conditions. After listening to her, he thinks, what's that saying? The man of letters and the man of arms? She didn't laugh at me? Then she tells him that you can keep this, but you can't take this medicine now. After which he asks her why. Then she replies, a tonic drug for the dragon race. It is too potent for the human body. After listening to her, he asks her, is this medicine so powerful? Then she replies, I am kindly reminding you that as a human being you cannot withstand its power. After that, he says, the power of a dragon? I have defeated countless dragon kings. Why can't I withstand a small pill? Rosweiss, don't underestimate mu epsilon. After saying all that, he suddenly eats that medicine and says courage is the hymn of mankind. After that, he suddenly feels something odd. Then Rosweiss tells him, that asshole, I've hardly ever used healing magic, and asks him, how are you feeling now? Let me try to break down the effects of the pill for you. After that, he suddenly stops her from doing something and tells her that, look carefully. Silver Dragon Queen. This is the courage and determination of mankind. Suddenly, he starts feeling pain in his body. And while looking at him, she thinks using lighting magic on his own body. What on earth is he doing? After that, suddenly he falls down, but she stops him from falling. And while putting him down at the bed, she thinks he really is a madman. Then while she is leaving, she tells him that you wait here. I'll go get the court physician. But suddenly he grabs her tail and stops her. After looking at this, she asks him, what are you doing? Then with a smile, he also asks her wife, where are you going? After listening to him, she freaks out and asks him, who is your wife? And tells him that, let me go. Then he replies, I don't want it. I won't let my wife go. After that, she thinks Dragon Great Force should only have the effect of strengthening the body and should not cause symptoms of unconsciousness. Is it the magic power of the lighting element that changed the effect of the medicine? But he looks like an idiot now, so his life won't be in any danger for the time being, right? After that, she tells him that, okay, I'm here, and asks him what's wrong, tell me. Then Leon replies, I want a second child, wife. After listening to him, she gets shocked and tells him that you haven't taken good care of the 2 children of your first pregnancy, and you want another one? Forget it. Then he replies, I want a second child. I want a second child. Is that okay? After listening to him, she thinks in order to avoid unnecessary complications. It is better to just follow his words. Then she tells him, okay, we don't just want a second child. We want a third and a fourth. After that, he also tells her that then you have to go back to my hometown with me. Then she replies, we will go back after we have settled down. After talking to him, she thinks this guy is even more annoying than usual. Then he gets close to her for kissing her and tells her that, wife, you are so nice. After that, she says, Ino, taking advantage of the situation. When will the effect of the medicine wear off? Then she suddenly punches him on his face and thinks I couldn't help but beat him up. After that, she asks him, are you okay? Then he replies, wife, I feel a little uncomfortable. After which she thinks it's not good. Why did the dragon pattern activate at this time? After that, Leon suddenly pushes her down in bed. Then she asks him, Leon, you idiot, what are you doing? After which he replies, I feel really bad, wife. I feel hot all over and my chest itches. After that, she thinks the dragon pattern mixed with the element of lighting made his body's desire to reproduce even stronger than before. Then while smelling her tail, he says, my wife's tail smells so good. I like your tail the most. After which she thinks if this goes on, I will be. After which she tells him that my tail is dragging on the ground all day long, and you don't mind it. Get off me now. Then he puts his finger on her lips and says, Melf, you are so beautiful tonight. After listening to him, she thinks what's going on. This man's attitude is completely different from before. This kind of madness and brutality that cannot be rejected actually have a little expectation. After that, he asks her, wife, you can help me, right? Then she replies, okay, only tonight only. The next morning, he wakes up and sees Rosweiss sleeping next to him fully naked. After that, he suddenly freaks out and asks her, why are you here? Then he suddenly feels pain in his body and says, my whole body aches. After that, he tells her that my memory is a little fragmented and asks her what happened last night. Then she also asks him, you don't remember anything? After that, she shows the marks in her body and tells him that you didn't forget this, right, Dragon Slayer? After looking at the marks in her body, he thinks there are so many hickeys. Was it me who did that? Then he suddenly remembers everything about what happened last night. After remembering all that, he shouts with frustration. Then she asks him, do you remember? And tells him that you begged me to do this with you last night. After that, she tells him what he said by repeating his words of last night, honey, let's do this one last time. Okay? Wife, I feel really bad. Please help me. Just this time. For the last time. Wife, you. After listening to all that with frustration, he suddenly says, stop, no. Need to say it again. I remember it all. Meanwhile, wearing his clothes, he thinks I originally refined the dragon great force, just to keep my body healthy and teach Rosweiss a lesson. I didn't expect this drug to be so effective. Then he tells her that I admit that I went a little too far last night and asks her, did I hurt you? Then she replies, it's okay. After that, he says, now you should know whether I am in good health or not, right? Next time, don't tell me I am not good enough. Then she suddenly comes close to him and tells him that I am very satisfied with your performance last night, Dragon Slayer. I hope you can keep doing this in the future. After that, he thinks now I'm in the service industry. After that, she tells him that right, about the BET, about changing the name. You won. Have you thought about what requests you would like to make? Then he replies, that I have thought about it, and also asks her, can you send someone to the Empire to check on my master and his wife? After that, she replies, we Silver Dragon aren't very good at sneaking in, but if you're just visiting someone, it's no problem. After that, he says, really? And while he is saying thanks, he suddenly coughs and fastly says thanks. Meanwhile, later at Silver Dragon Castle Garden, Myun asks him, Dad, are you sick? Then he replies, no, and asks her, why do you ask? Then she replies, Mom told me that Dad took the medicine yesterday himself. Dad is a man, and men can't say that they are sick. After listening to her, he thinks that female dragon. How can you tell such a thing to a child? Don't I have any dignity? Then while looking at him, Myun thinks Dad is still not well. I guess it because the medicine is not effective enough. Or is it because he took too little medicine? H. Dad's mouth is bleeding. After that he tells her it would be rude to ask any more questions. Then she tells him that Dad, Myun can't live without her dad. Dad, please don't die. After which he replies Daddy is really fine. He is doing fine. Then he thinks as expected. She is Rosweiss' daughter. I always feel that she is similar to her in some ways. After thinking that he asks her how about Daddy making you a new Tau Omicron Upsilon today? Then she replies toys. Yay. Myun loves toys the most. After that he makes the Rubik's Cube and gives it to her, and also tells her that clang clang clang, this little toy is called a Rubik's Cube. You can twist it at will. Come and try it. Yay. After that he thinks I had learned some principles of simple mechanical linkages in the alchemy mechanics class at school. I didn't expect to use it when taking care of my baby today. Am I born to be a babysitter? After that he suddenly notices something and looks backward. Then Myun asks him, Dad, what's wrong? After which he replies, no, nothing. And also thinks just now, I felt the dragon's gaze. That direction, is it where Noah does physical training? But the child won't come up to join us, let's make one for her too. Meanwhile later at night Noah enters her room and sees the Rubik's Cube at the table with a note written by Leon in which it's written that toy for Noah find a way to restore it. After that she picks it up and thinks idiot. I have no interest in this kind of children's toys, thank you, Dad. Meanwhile next day morning Noah sneakingly looks Myun doing something under the bed and thinks my sister has been acting a little strange lately, often hiding things in a box under the bed without telling Myun. Meanwhile under the bed while looking at Noah's hidden things Myun thinks hee, let's take a look at what good things are inside while my sister is away. Detective Muin is on the move. They all seem to be related to Dad. Muin understood. Actually, my sister is really good to my dad. After that Noah tells her that peeking
that Noah is attending is called St. Heath Academy. St. Heath Academy is a noble institution among the Dragon Clan, and it also has strict standards for the students it recruits. Family is an important part of the assessment criteria. St. Heath Academy believes that whether a dragon is born through asexual reproduction or a couple's normal fetal reproduction, only in a harmonious, loving family that espouses the ideals of the Dragon Clan can they be nurtured into a qualified young dragon. The Academy admits only such students. To create the illusion of a harmonious and loving dragon family, the Silver Dragon Queen decided to take the whole family on a trip and have a family photo taken together. Their destination was a city located in the sky called Sky City. Sky City boasts beautiful scenery, with an azure sky enveloping the city. There were also many dragons flying near Sky City. Dragon-shaped Roswitha found an open area to land and set Leon and the daughters down. After Leon picked up Noah, Muen came next. Muen slid down from Roswitha's back like she was on a slide. She seemed to particularly enjoy this process. Leon reached out and prepared to hold her. "Slow down. I'll hold you," he said. After being steadily picked up by Leon, Muen waved her hands happily with a smile on her face. She innocently asked Leon, Dad, why didn't you change into a dragon just now? Muen wants to see Dad turn into a dragon." Leon was caught off guard by her question. He smiled a little sheepishly and muttered to himself, "My dear daughter, I'm quite skilled at slaying dragons. But as for transforming into dragons, is it better not to?" Noah appeared and saw that Leon was avoiding the question. She crossed her arms in front of her chest and stood behind him, speaking softly. "Are you unable to transform into a dragon?" Leon broke out into a dragon. Leon broke out into a cold sweat at Noah's words. Noah's serious gaze and Muen's innocent gaze converged on him. Leon looked at his daughter's curious expressions and was somewhat at a loss. There was no other choice but to look at Roswitha with a pleading expression. At this moment, Roswitha had already transformed into her human form and walked towards them. She looked at them with a smile and calmly explained to her daughters, "Your father's body has not fully recovered yet, and he cannot transform into a dragon form at the moment. When he recovers, he will show you." Leon almost thought he was going to expose his identity. He was quietly relieved by Roswitha's help. Muen gently clenched her hands and looked at Leon with anticipation. "Dad, you must recover quickly," she said. With a helpless look on his face, Leon responded softly to Muen's words, "I will try my best." Subsequently, Leon silently denied the situation in his heart. Although it was impossible, the azure sky set off the huge gate of Sky City in front of them. The area around the gate was filled with dragon people who had come here to play or were local dragons. Roswitha urged them softly, "All right, hurry into the city. There's still something to do today." Roswitha held Noah's hand, while Leon held Moon's hand. The four of them entered Sky City together. As they entered the streets of Sky City, Moon couldn't wait to look around. She ran excitedly ahead, her eyes filled with indescribable joy. "Wow, Noah, look, there are so many dragons." Noah didn't seem interested in the people or things on the street. She calmly followed behind Muon, persuading her not to run too fast. "Slow down, don't walk too fast." The people on the street were curious about the pair of cute little dragons that had suddenly appeared, and all of them turned around to look at them with curious eyes. Only Leon and Roswitha stood out from the crowd. The two of them followed behind the children coldly, not saying a word to each other. At this moment, Leon's walking speed slowed. He lowered his head, his body trembling uncontrollably. Roswitha noticed that Leon wasn't following. She turned her head and noticed something was wrong with him. "Is this guy trembling? Well, this should be the first time he has seen so many dragons since he woke up from a coma." Roswitha walked up to Leon and leaned in to mock him. "What's up? Are you scared?" Upon hearing Roswitha's question, Leon quickly lifted his head with an excited expression on his face. "Huh? Scared? I'm excited." He pointed his fingers towards the different types of dragon people in the crowd on the street, his voice revealing an uncontrollable excitement. "First class merit, first class merit, second class merit. The streets are full of achievements. I'm going to get rich." The dragon people didn't know what the man in front of them was doing and looked at him with confusion. Roswitha felt helpless about Leon's reaction. She covered her face with her hands and silently complained about Leon in her heart. "I don't need to worry about him anymore." Leon walked ahead of Roswitha with happy steps and confidently laughed out loud. "Bring them all back and I can exchange them for a lot of money in no time." They arrived at the photo studio. The crisp bell rang, signaling that customers had entered. A middle-aged female dragon wearing glasses and a hat, along with a female dragon assistant, stood at the front desk. They bowed slightly to welcome them. "Welcome, Your Majesty." The environment of the photo studio was very beautiful, revealing some elegant atmosphere. The walls were filled with photos of various types of dragon people. The female dragon assistant guided them inward from the front. Muen led Noah, running ahead curiously, looking at the photos on the studio wall. "Noah, look, there are many photos of dragons here." After arriving at the photo studio, Leon felt something strange. He approached Roswitha and whispered to her, "By the way, aren't you the Silver Dragon Queen? Why do you still have to come to the photo studio in person to take photos?" Roswitha turned to him and explained the purpose of her personal visit this time. The Dragon King, or Queen of a tribe, can only command the people of their own tribe, but the dragons of Sky City do not belong to any tribe. Leon thought that the Silver Dragon Queen's abilities could only reach this level and couldn't help but laugh at her. "So your status as a queen is a bit low as the queen of the Silver Dragon." Roswitha didn't want to hear such words. She stomped hard on Leon's foot with her high heels, expressing her dissatisfaction with what he had just said. She walked in front of Leon somewhat angrily. "Anyway, my status is higher than yours." Leon stood behind and covered his foot with his hand, sucking in a breath of pain. Roswitha walked up to Selena, the manager of the photo studio, and struck up a pleasant conversation with her. "Everyone says that Selena's photography skills are top-notch among the Dragon Clan. Being able to successfully book an appointment with you is also our family's luck." Selena held up her glasses and replied to Roswitha, "It's an honor for our studio to take family photos for the Silver Dragon Queen." While chatting with Roswitha, Selena turned her head and noticed that there was no tail behind Leon. A little puzzled, she asked Roswitha, "Your Majesty, your husband's tail." At this moment, Leon was focused on looking at the photos on the wall and didn't listen to their conversation. Roswitha looked in the direction where Leon was and made up an excuse to explain to Selena he doesn't like to show his tail. "Please choose a tailor suit for him." In fact, in order to keep the other dragon people from getting suspicious, Roswitha had previously advised Leon to wear a fake dragon tail to pretend he was a dragon. However, Leon was unwilling to compromise and was adamant about not wearing a fake dragon tail. He backed away from it while waving his hands in a motion to show his refusal. "No, Even if you kill me, I won't wear this. This concerns my dignity. Roswitha had no choice but to follow his idea. After listening to Roswitha's explanation, Selena did not continue to pursue the matter further. She raised her hand and gestured for them to move towards the fitting room in the photo studio. I see, Your Majesty. Please move over here and try on the clothes first. Noah, Muen, and Leon followed behind Roswitha and went in together. Muen waved her hands happily as she walked. Muen wants to wear a nice dress. After a while, with the help of the female assistant in the store, Selena first helped Noah and Muen change their clothes. Muen was wearing a white dress with a blue bow as decoration, while Noah was wearing a black dress with a purple bow. Muen looked at her clothes with a face full of joy, while Noah's face didn't have much expression, but probably in her heart, she also expressed her love for her new clothes. The curtain of the fitting room was pulled open, and Leon walked out from inside. He was wearing a white suit, and his hairstyle had been slightly styled by the assistant. He looked very handsome and spirited. Seeing such a handsome father, Muen's eyes sparkled, and she couldn't help but praise him loudly. Wow, Dad is so handsome. Selena was also amazed by Leon's current outfit. Her face turned slightly red, and she expressed her thoughts to Leon. King, this suit is very suitable for you. You must have been very popular before, right? However, Leon looked at himself with confusion, as if he didn't realize he was as good-looking as everyone said. Is that so? The last time I wore a suit was during my graduation ceremony at the academy. Leon realized that Noah had not yet expressed her opinion. After tidying up his clothes, he looked up at Noah with a smile on his face. What does Noah think? Noah noticed Leon's gaze, and her face immediately turned red. She shyly turned her head and hesitantly commented on Leon's attire. Well, it's so handsome. Leon was particularly happy to hear his daughters evaluate him like this. He bent down and reached out his hands to stroke their heads separately. Your dresses are also very cute. Noah and Muen looked up at Leon together and expressed their delight in his evaluation. The curtain of another fitting room was also pulled open. Roswitha walked elegantly out of the fitting room. She was wearing a black dress with purple accents on the inside, reflecting her aristocratic temperament. The slim-fit dress showcased Roswitha's excellent figure, and when she walked out of the fitting room, she exuded a sense of royalty and mystery. Muen couldn't help but praise Roswitha. Mom is so beautiful. Leon was stunned to see such an elegant and beautiful Roswitha, and his face quietly turned red without him knowing it. Roswitha noticed Leon's gaze and turned to glare at him. What's up? Leon turned his face away, scratched his head, and awkwardly replied to Roswitha, No. It's quite suitable for you. Hearing Leon say that, Roswitha couldn't help but blush as well. Presumably seeing that Leon's outfit showed his handsomeness, she turned her head and commented on Leon's attire. I think it would be great if you had a tail. Leon was very dissatisfied with her proposal. He silently cursed in his heart. Bah! I will never put on a tail in my life. Selena was already making the final adjustments to the camera. Noah and Muen were already standing in front of the camera. Muen waved her hand towards where Roswitha and Leon were standing, indicating for them to come over quickly. Dad, Mom, come on! After arranging where the four would stand, Selena provided guidance on their actions. Get ready to take photos. Your Majesty, King, please get closer. Roswitha and Leon were somewhat reluctant. They pulled away from each other slightly. They didn't want to get too close to each other. Smile. 3, 2, 1. At Selena's voice, several harmonious family photos slowly emerged on the camera. The first photo is of the four people. Roswitha and Leon stood behind their daughters with serious expressions on their faces. Muen raised one hand and made a gesture, looking very happy. Noah was held by Muen's hand with a calm expression on her face. This photo really looks like a harmonious family. The second photo is of Noah and Muen. Muen happily hugged Noah, while Noah looked at the camera expressionlessly. This photo looks like the sisters are very close. The third and fourth photos are of Roswitha and Leon. Roswitha and Leon were leaning sideways against each other, blushing and shyly forming their hands into a loving gesture for the camera. The next one shows them looking at each other face to face, looking very much like a couple interacting. Selena felt warm inside when she saw these two very loving photos. They do look good as a couple. The family photo shoot ended in a harmonious atmosphere. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, Leon graduated from the academy. However, by this time, Leon was surrounded by girls who looked up to him. Leon, can we take a photo together? Can you have dinner with me? Please accept this gift. It seems that Leon was very popular among girls. However, Leon, who didn't understand the true thoughts of the girls, rejected them outright on the spot. Please allow me to refuse. I have to go back and mail the hooves of my master's donkey. Take a rain check, Leon said, bidding goodbye to the girls and turning away from them. The girls froze in place, and their hearts were broken as soon as they heard such a reply. Leon's master stood behind, looking at his apprentice, who couldn't chat so well, with a helpless expression on his face. Did this guy get kicked in the head by a donkey? The photographer informs Rose and Leon that it will take around 6 hours to develop the photos. She encourages them to walk through the city, which was very lively at that time, with a vibrant fair. The kids were really excited about the prospect of finally something fun to enjoy. Both girls eagerly ran ahead, their faces glowing with joy, while Leon turned to Rose and remarked that he never thought they would end up shopping together like this. With her usual cold tone, Rose responded, "We are doing this only to maintain the family image. Don't misunderstand." She reminded Leon of Noah's entrance exam for which she needed to prepare. She had put the effort for the last month into this and should not leave anything to chance. They noted that the girls were watching a toy stall closely, in particular, the shooting game. The girls had eyes only where the former player had glanced, a young girl who had lost out on winning a great toy because of just a few shots. Leon was curious, exclaiming, "I have never seen a game like this before here." He also stated that he had only witnessed individuals playing those types of games in the human markets. The shopkeeper explained the rules with a sly smile. He fixed the game so that there could only be a win if all the balloons were shot, with 10 directly consecutive shots. The girls, obsessed with the dolls on display, couldn't tear their eyes away. Rose carefully observed the location and put forward, "The gun here is driven with magical energy. These guns achieve this control over magic, which is quite complex, even for someone like Noah." The shopkeeper, noticing their interest, tried to lure them with his usual tactics. He confidently said, "If you can pop all the balloons with 10 continuous shots, you'll win these beautiful dolls for your daughters." He designed it so that it looks easy, particularly for young girls, but he has a trick up his sleeve. Whenever parents would step forward to try, he would change the settings on the guns to make it almost impossible to win. So, he would be able to get rich, and no one will have the major prize at the end of the day. Leon stood before the girls and asked, "Wanna those dolls?" They both responded with a shake of the head to tell him that they didn't want them. Leon wasn't convinced. He could see through their polite refusal. He also understood that his daughters did not want to put him into a bad mood, and so both of them refused to want the dolls. Leon stared at the game and was ready to shoot the balloons and get the gifts for his daughters. He picked up the gun with great composure. He requested the shopkeeper to buy some bullets for his wife directly so that she could also play. Rose raised an eyebrow in agreement but kept silent. Leon hasn't held a gun since Dragon Slayer training at the Dragon Slayer Academy, but willpower commanded silence regarding any doubt still in his mind. The initial shot was broad, and the shop attendant grinned with pleasure at his rigged booth. He had already modified the gun so that nobody could shoot the balloons. Still, in the next 10 rounds, he was shocked that Leon could hit all the balloons in a row, consecutively, and won the game with ease. People around the stall started cheering by clapping their hands, acknowledging Leon's accuracy and skill. Even Rose, who always kept calm, could not help but acknowledge. The shopkeeper was angry. Grinding his teeth, he handed the dolls to Leon's 2 daughters, mumbling to himself. Leon thanked the shopkeeper for the dolls. The girls were ecstatic, their faces glowing as they held the dolls close to their bodies. She observed the man keenly, how that otherwise rather low-key fellow still managed to retain his special charm when it mattered most. Leon grinned at how happy they were, but Rose was gazing at him in a trance. She hastily looked away when their eyes met, but Leon still wasn't finished. And now one of the girls who was passing by with her mother asked to have the same teddy bear that Rose was holding. On the highest shelf, Leon observed a giant teddy bear that could, more or less, fit Rose in its shape. Not even flinching, he picked up the gun once again, and with another perfect shot, popped 10 more to win the bear. He handed it over to Rose with a triumphant grin. Rose, with the big bear, was speechless for a moment. Rose's cheeks deepened into a tomato red, and she mumbled under her breath, "If I were in charge, I'd tell everyone not to play this rigged game at all." Leon chortled at her statement. "It's all right. Everyone's just having fun with the game. If you do not like the toy, then hand it over to me. I thought I cannot let you leave with empty hands." His mocking voice caused Rose to become a little flustered. "I never said that," she said quickly. In fact, despite being usually quite a practical-minded woman, she became surprisingly fond of this huge bear. Indeed, bears are not even pleasant to eat properly, Rose mused to herself, but as toys, they are strangely endearing. Upon turning around to leave, Rose addressed Leon. I will be waiting for you in my room. Don't forget about coming over. Leon froze at her words. They went back to the castle, and his mind reeled as he went back to his room. He began to walk about the room in an agitated state, without being able to even conceive anything else. But the reality that Rose had called upon him to her chamber, once again. Something is definitely going to happen, he whispered to himself as he attempted to calm himself down. The fact of what was ahead was anybody's guess, but Leon found himself feeling both afraid and eager for what Rose had in store for him. Leon was frustrated and in a dilemma. If he went to Rose's room, he knew that the night would be uncomfortable for him. However, if he won't go, he will be uncomfortable for a whole week. He finally made up his mind to go and thought that he would fight with her. He got to her room and saw the door was open. He hesitantly stepped in and began to look around, his thoughts churning within him. Is she actually taking a shower? He thought nervously. Looking around, he saw the shape of her body in the frosted glass of the bathroom door. The poor quality of the glass made it impossible to make out clearly, but it was enough to make him panic. Leon felt his heartbeat hasten. He thought, can I really do this tonight? He was not prepared, but he coaxed himself into breathing normally, to cool off, and to think logically. However, the bathroom door swung open, and out of it stood the attractive Rose. She seemed wearing a short pinkish nightdress, a garb that made Leon nervous all the more, as if because of its sensual sheen and elegance in their mutual proportion. She wasted not the least time. Now let's get started. Rose ventured very resolutely. Leon froze, his mind racing. He clenched his fists, trying to steady himself. This is it, he thought. I'm really going to be squeezed dry again tonight. Despite his nerves, he knew there was no escape. The next day, Leon got up with his daughters, who were hard at it with some colorful cards. Their cheerful voices echoed through the room. Mom and Dad look so wonderful in the photo. You are the perfect match. Leon was surprised by the photos they took the previous day. Attached to those pictures was a card he read and found a strange phrase that said, "May the silver light always shine in the eyes of the one you love." Both he and Rose looked at the card in astonished silence. They exchanged shocked glances, immediately bursting into loud protests. Who wrote this? Rose demanded, her cheeks flushing red. She must have misunderstood. We're not in love. Leon, all of a sudden quite nervous, started running in circles as if he had been bitten. This needs to be corrected, he stammered. His face mirrored Rose's embarrassment. While Leon and Rose scrambled to figure out how to fix the misunderstanding, the card and its message had already left an undeniable impression. Rose stood in her nightdress, a sly grin playing on her lips as she asked Leon, "Where should we do it? On the balcony or in the living room?" Leon froze, his face a mix of confusion and mild panic. On the balcony. Not good, right? It would be embarrassing for others. Rose chuckled, shaking her head. All right then, the living room it is. Seems more appropriate. She held up a piece of paper in her hand, and Leon's curiosity piqued. All right, let's do it, he said, dramatically flopping onto the sofa, as though preparing for something monumental. He closed his eyes and sprawled out theatrically. Rose arched an eyebrow. What exactly are you doing? Leon cracked one eye open, puzzled. Huh? Aren't you talking about having... Rose's laughter bubbled up, filling the room. Mr. Leon, maybe you're getting a bit too excited about the idea. But sorry, not today. Try another day. Leon's cheeks flushed crimson. So, what are we doing then? Rose waved the paper in front of him with a smirk. This, she declared, is the test for the viviparous families assessed by St. Heath Academy in the past. These questions are all about the living habits, personalities, and experiences of partners. We need to prepare our answers in advance so we don't mess up Noah's admission assessment if we're unable to answer correctly, she added, her tone growing serious. Leon's jaw dropped. Isn't this just a boring couples compatibility game? Rose rolled her eyes. Call it what you want. Let's just fill out the forms. Reluctantly, Leon sat up and took a form, sighing dramatically. But soon his curiosity got the better of him. Okay, let's start with something easy. What's your favorite color? Rose didn't hesitate. Black. And you, silver, Leon replied. Their eyes met for a moment, and an awkward silence stretched between them. Both quickly looked away, their faces tinged with embarrassment. What a coincidence, Rose muttered, trying to break the tension. Let's test how well we actually know each other. Leon's competitive streak kicked in. Fine by me. Bring it on. And so, the challenge began. Questions flew back and forth, ranging from trivial preferences to intricate habits. By the end, Leon's triumphant grin said it all. Haha, my score is higher than yours. It seems I know the queen better, he teased, his tone laced with playful arrogance. Rose's mind whirred. I didn't expect that he even noticed my little habits. Like how I prefer to sit, or how I place my tail most comfortably. He must be quite observant. She reflected on her mistakes. I've always been used to keeping things to myself and never telling others, so it's normal for him to guess wrong. But maybe, if I try again, I might get them right. Leon noticed her intense gaze and couldn't resist teasing her. She's been staring at me since earlier. Is it because I got a higher score than her and she's holding a grudge? Rose was still looking at him awkwardly, caught off guard. Leon chuckled, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. All right. The time we've spent together was too short, so it's normal you didn't get a high score right away. For Noah's sake, please try to understand me a little better. Hearing this, Rose blushed furiously and covered her face with her hands. Stop talking nonsense. Just write down your correct answer now. Leon decided to change the topic. By the way, did you get this question wrong? You actually said that you've never been disappointed in me? Rose's eyes narrowed. No, if I must say, it's that there were too few Dragon Great Force pills last time. Leon looked at her awkwardly. Bah. From now on, I'll eat Dragon Great Force pills as my main meal. Don't regret it, Rose smirked. Then I'm looking forward to it. Banter continued until both were too tired to keep going. Days of preparation passed in a blur of questions, answers, and occasional playful arguments. By the night before the entrance exam, they were exhausted. Leon checked the test results and grinned. That's good. After a week of hard work, our average score on the test questions is over 80 points. If we perform normally, there should be no problem with the family assessment. Rose slumped into a chair, exhausted. I'm done, she muttered. Leon stretched. If there's nothing else, I'll go back first. Suddenly, Rose stopped him and pointed toward the bathroom. There's a bathtub in my bathroom. Go take a bath and then come back. Leon blinked at her, startled. Taking a shower? Are you serious? Rose crossed her arms. Just hurry up and go, she snapped, pushing him toward the bathroom. Inside the bathroom, Leon made a weird face as he began taking off his clothes. Why does she want me to take a shower here for no reason? Is she planning something suspicious? He exhaled deeply, but she's been very nervous these days because of the entrance exam, so maybe it's fine. Saying this, he stepped into the bathtub, letting the warm water relax him. Just as he was starting to unwind, the door creaked open. Rose stepped in, holding a towel. Leon froze in shock. Rose, what are you doing here? She looked at him with a hint of mischief and something more. I've been so stressed these days, I thought. Maybe we could. Leon's mind raced. What I was thinking has finally come. He loudly blurted out, if you're under so much stress, how can I help? Rose stepped closer, her voice soft. By transferring the pressure to you, I can be relieved, right? That's how you can help. Leon gulped. Transfer your stress. How? Rose removed her towel and moved toward Leon with purpose. Seeing this, Leon's thoughts spiraled. I can't refute it. Rose pounced, wrapping her arms around him. You can't run away, Leon. Just surrender, she declared with a playful laugh. A few days later, the entrance examination for St. Health Academy finally arrived. Leon, Rosa, and Noah arrived at the academy grounds. Leon, dressed in a sharp brown suit, exuded energy as he curiously surveyed the expansive academy. Wow, this is St. Health Academy, he remarked. Rosa stood beside him, holding Noah. She wore a white dress with brown accents, echoing her mother's style. Noah gazed up at the magnificent academy, her eyes wide with wonder. However, Rosa's demeanor was subdued. A slight frown creased her brow, and she seemed unhappy and nervous. Leon noticed her tension. She hadn't spoken since they entered. With a playful grin, he whispered, "What's wrong?" Didn't the stress, relieving activity last night work? It's magic, Rosa blushed, remembering their intimate activity. Though she had initiated it, she still felt a tinge of embarrassment. Damn it, she muttered, playfully slapping him on the back. Leon, unfazed, accepted the playful blow with a smile and stepped forward. Let's go, let's go. Their lighthearted exchange eased Rosa's tension. They entered the ground floor of the office building to finalize Noah's enrollment information. The staff at the front desk reviewed Noah's details. Noah Ake, Mivi, Silver Dragon Clan. The staff's eyes widened when she saw the age listed, 1 year and 3 months. She looked down at Noah, who remained expressionless, and then back at the document with disbelief. Leon noticed the staff's surprise. Is there a problem with that? He inquired. The staff, concerned about causing offense, replied with a smile. Oh no, it's just surprising, she explained. While the Academy's minimum age for young dragons is 1 year, most enrolled dragons are between 4 and 6 years old. Your little princess is quite young, isn't she? Rosa, sensing the staff's underlying doubt about Noah's readiness, appeared slightly displeased. Noah is very intelligent, she stated firmly, placing a hand on Noah's shoulder. Her age is not an obstacle. We respect her abilities. The staff, sensing Rosa's assertiveness, dropped the matter. Very well, she said. Specialized staff will take her to the written test. Accompanying parents will proceed to the 4th floor for a family assessment. Noah was escorted to the examination room, while Leon and Rosa followed the staff to the 4th floor. In the meeting room, an office assistant guided them to a sofa and served them tea. 3 examiners, responsible for the family assessment, sat opposite them. Rosa, feeling a touch of apprehension, leaned towards Leon. He, understanding her unease, remained silent. She took his arm and whispered, based on your experience, do you think these 3 will be easy to deal with? The assistant distributed assessment materials while providing the examiners with additional information. 2 of the examiners scrutinized the documents, then turned their attention to Leon and Rosa. The 3rd examiner remained engrossed in the materials. Leon observed them intently and whispered, Man, they seem manageable. Before I met you, I could have dispatched them in 50 rounds. He subtly adopted a menacing expression, clenching his left hand into a fist and mused, if they dare to deny Noah's admission, I'll pay them a visit with a certain instrument. Rosa looked at him in surprise. She hadn't expected such a serious response. The examiners, sensing the powerful aura emanating from Leon, exchanged silent glances. The elderly examiner in the center, with his white hair, white beard, and monocle, spoke first. I am Walter Wilson, Vice President of St. Health Academy, and your assessor today. Please relax and answer our questions honestly. Vice President Wilson's appearance, attire and tone conveyed an air of authority. Leon and Rosa managed smiles in response. Though their nerves remained, Leon inwardly questioned, I wonder what kind of peculiar questions this old man will ask. Vice President Wilson reviewed the information sheet and then, with a serious expression, posed the first question. Can you recall your wedding anniversary? Leon and Rosa exchanged a quick glance, as if anticipating this question. With this, both of them started remembering their last evening, reviewing the test questions they had done together on Roswitha's bed. At this moment, while looking at the exam paper, Roswitha suddenly thought of a question that was not on the exam paper. How should we answer when asked about our wedding anniversary? After all, we have never been officially married, and I became pregnant before getting married, she said. Leon closed his eyes and carefully considered the answer. If they mention a memorable day, it can only be that day. Before Leon could even speak up about the date, Roswitha said, it is the year 1733 in the Genesis calendar, May 25th. Leon and Roswitha moved closer to each other with easy smiles on their faces, and together said that very important date. That was the day I bonded with Roswitha in the dungeon. Leon silently thought in his heart. On that day, Leon was forced to bond with Roswitha, who had suffered from the side effects of his spell, and they had 2 lovely daughters. This is an unforgettable day for Leon and Roswitha. Vice Principal Wilson looked down at the information sheet again and thoughtfully touched his beard, surprised by their story. Married for less than 2 years and the child is already over a year old. This progress seems to be faster than that of an average family. Leon smiled apologetically and immediately explained, Haha, we fell in love at first sight, had a good relationship, and got pregnant soon after getting married. The vice principal nodded. satisfied with the answer, and continued to ask questions. Have you noticed any flaws or bad habits in your partner during the past 2 years of marriage? Leon and Roswitha answered without hesitation. Roswitha's answer was no, while Leon's answer was yes. The vice principal noticed the inconsistency in their answers and looked at them curiously. Although it was arranged by them, Leon thought quietly, our answers need to be a mix of true and false to be credible. The vice principal turned his gaze to Leon, wanting to hear his answer. Leon lowered his head, placed his hand on his chest with a hint of sadness, and said, I sometimes feel like I don't have much presence. Next, Leon launched into a dramatic display of his admiration for his wife. My wife is incredibly capable. She excels in everything, clan matters, household chores, even caring for our children. Roswitha watched him, a playful glint in her eye. Leon, holding her hand affectionately, continued, I long to contribute more to this family. Please don't hesitate to rely on me, he added under his breath. Don't stress me out anymore. The female examiner exclaimed, such a caring husband. She turned to Roswitha. What do you find most attractive about your husband, Miss Roswitha? Roswitha smiled. He's handsome, focused, and responsible. He loves our children, she added with a twinkle, though his physique isn't as impressive as before our union, but he's a skilled healer. Leon's smile twitched. Roswitha, tightening her grip on his hand, said softly, don't push yourself too hard. Leon felt a playful pang, but remained silent. The examiners exchanged smiles. The questioning continued. Leon and Roswitha answered smoothly. Finally, the examiner on the right posed the final question. Do you have any questions for each other? Roswitha shook her head with a smile. I know him well. Leon leaned back, stroking his chin. You like the toy bear I gave you, right? Roswitha was surprised. Why this question now? She thought, looking away shyly. Yes, I love the toy bear, she admitted. Leon patted his hand contentedly. Good, I'm satisfied. The assessment concluded. The vice principal shook hands with Leon. The results will be sent to the Silver Dragon Temple via messenger dragon in a few days. Later, a messenger dragon delivered the good news. Noah had passed the entrance exam. Noah passed, exclaimed Leon and Roswitha simultaneously. Noah is amazing. Mom and Dad are amazing, cheered Muin, hugging Noah. Noah clutched the admission letter, a rare smile gracing her usually expressionless face. Thank you, Roswitha said to Leon. Leon proudly tapped his nose. Don't thank me. It's all thanks to Noah. My daughter is extraordinary. Let's celebrate with a big meal, Roswitha announced. You come help, so as not to say you're useless around the house. Leon followed her, teasingly replying, all right, I know you're a bit unforgiving. At Heath's College matriculation ceremony, the principal is on the podium, congratulating the students for passing the assessment and welcoming the students to attend the entrance ceremony of St. Heath's College. While the students and the parents are patiently listening to it, the headmaster announces that there are many students with excellent academic performance among the new students. They believe that only harmonious families can cultivate such excellent students. They would like to take this opportunity to share some experience with everyone. He announces that he would like to invite Noah K. Melkovich, the top-ranked student in this freshman class, and her family to the stage. Leon, with his family, is directed to the stage. Leon, with Noah and Ross Weiss, boards down the stage while Leon is nervous, wondering how this happened, as he was informed half an hour ago that Noah got the higher score in the entrance test and his wife got the first place in the family assessment. So, although they are pleased to go on to the stage to speak as representatives of the freshmen and the family, Leon is frowning that there is no way this happened suddenly, and he can only pray that all goes well, and he can only bite the bullet and do it. While the headmaster tells Noah that she is the youngest candidate but got the highest score, questioning her thoughts and feelings, and to question what she wants to share with them, Noah states that her mother is a very powerful dragon. When she grow up, she want to be as powerful as her. When she proposed to go to the school, her mother gave her affirmation and support. Her sister Noah has always been by her side, and she is very grateful to her. While Leon is wondering whether she would mention him or not, Noah takes a pause to state that finally, the one she wants to thank the most is her father. He helped her review for the exam every day, and often stayed up late at night to prepare materials, thanking him that she can stand here because of him, making Leon emotional. Noah thanks her father and bows ahead, while the headmaster states that it seems that Leon is very good at teaching children. He questions why don't he give a kiss to her to show his father love, shocking Leon. Leon curses internally, wondering what the principal is saying. He doesn't want the entire ceremony to turn into a scene of patricide. A month ago, Noah wouldn't even let him touch her, so how could she let him kiss her in public? Leon tries to convince Noah, whispering not to be embarrassed, and they can just hug each other. Noah, quite embarrassed, asks Leon to hurry up and finish the kiss. Leon is shocked to hear this, but now that she has said so, Leon kisses Noah on her forehead to create a mesmerizing moment. Noah is eager and says she wants to join her sister too, but the maid barely holds her back, saying she can't go up now. Roswitha thinks that, fortunately, it wasn't her. The headmaster states to praise that excellent dragons will never forget to be grateful to their families. The way the Melkvich family gets along with each other makes them feel what a real family should be like. He surprisingly announces that since Leon kissed his daughter, and as a model of a loving couple, how can he forget about his wife, shocking Leon and Roswitha. While Leon curses the old dragon, wondering he is really getting ahead of himself, he thinks he should have killed him on the day of the assessment. Leon clenches his fist, thinking that this is the most important ceremony for Noah. He has been through so many battles, so he questions how he can be scared of such a small scene. While Leon is quite nervous about it, he teasingly tells Roswitha that they must act like the happiest and most harmonious family, making Roswitha quite nervous and embarrassed. Roswitha questions whether he really wants to kiss her in front of hundreds of dragons. Leon firmly states there is no choice, as Noah and Noah are watching, and they have to cooperate with him. Leon quietly apologizes to Roswitha as he gets close to her. Roswitha thinks that although they have slept together and held hands, they have never kissed except 2 years ago. She questions how come he is so calm, as if she is the only one who is nervous. She is trembling with embarrassment as Leon gets closer to her. As they are about to kiss, Roswitha branches off in embarrassment, shrugging her mind as she would do it. But to her surprise, Leon kisses her on the cheek. Embarrassed about the moment, Leon goes down, announcing that this is his limit. Parents chant out for a warm-up kiss. Leon quietly asks Roswitha if she is comfortable and relieved, making her angry. Roswitha grits her teeth, thinking that this guy actually used her to relieve stress, and if it wasn't in front of so many people, she would have pinned him down to the ground. While the headmaster thanks the family for being a model family this year, who brought them laughter and joy, he invites them to rest. After the ceremony, Roswitha tells them they are ready to go, and they will pick Noah up next weekend. She asks Noah to take care of herself, to which Noah affirms that she will. Noah hugs Noah, saying she will miss her, to which Noah states she will miss her as well. Leon asks Noah to remember to eat on time, not be picky about food, study hard, and if she doesn't understand something, she can ask him when she comes home during the holidays. Most importantly, if she is sick, she must go to the school doctor and not be stubborn. Noah assures Leon that she knows all about it and is not a kid. Leon states that these orders were set by her mother when she was drunk, as she was embarrassed to tell her in person, so he is doing it for her. Leon states that if she meets classmates with bad personalities, she should stay away from them, but if they dare to bully her, she just has to fight back, as her father will support her. Noah asks if he ever did anything like this when he was in school. Leon shows that he has, but every time he got into a fight at school, his teacher and her grandfather would take him home and beat him up. Leon asks Noah not to worry, as his words won't get her punished for just such a small matter, to which Noah affirms she will remember it.
At the Silver Dragon Temple, in the Queen's study room, Roswitha thinks to herself that the blood curse is a forbidden magic that can only be used once in a lifetime. It uses blood as the medium and the caster's life as the exchange price for it. She smiles and mentions that with some improvements, it might become an interesting way to play. As she speaks, a shadow enters the room. As the maid is introduced, Shirley, a trusted maid of the Silver Dragon tribe. Roswitha questions why the investigation was delayed, to which Shirley apologizes and explains that there was no trace of Tiger Lawrence or his wife in the Empire. As they discuss their disappearance, Roswitha is confused by what Shirley means by missing. Shirley explains that the information was meticulously erased, leaving her subordinates unable to track their whereabouts. Roswitha reflects that according to Leon, his master was just an ordinary old man, but now it seems he is far from simple. She instructs Shirley to ensure their safety is not compromised and to continue the investigation, asking to be notified immediately if there is any news. Shirley complies with the order and departs. The scene shifts to Leon, who is training with his daughter. He teaches her to chop a stick down hard, demonstrating the proper stance. Noah, observing him, feels both delighted and surprised. She playfully tries to do it, but seeing her one-ling strikes confuses out Leon. As they continue their practice, Rosweiss and her maid arrive, and Noah excitedly runs to greet her mother. Leon teases Rosweiss, asking if the patrol has returned. Rosweiss hugs Noah and asks if she listened to her father at home today. Noah enthusiastically replies that she is happy because her dad also taught her how to hold a sword. Rosweiss comments that it's not bad and mentions they will have dinner soon, adding that she asks the chef to prepare steak. She then asks Noah to go change her clothes. Hearing the mention of steak, Noah becomes even more excited, declaring her love for it. She leaves with the maid, giving Rosweiss and Leon a moment alone. As Rosweiss turns Leon, he suddenly points a branch at her, attempting to startle her. Rosweiss questions if he is seriously determined to attack her in the Silver Dragon Temple, reminding him that pointing a weapon at her is a crime of treason punishable by death. He even asks her if she would refuse to Leon weapons at her. Leon becomes extremely angry at her, and the crime of treason punishable by death. Leon responds that it's just a branch, and asks if the queen truly sees it as a weapon. Rosweiss counters, teasingly asking if the branch isn't a deadly weapon in the hands of the strongest dragon slayer. Leon sighs and asks if she isn't the strongest dragon herself. He teases her further, calling her mother dragon, and suggests that if she wants to praise someone, she should just do it nicely instead of being so strange. Rosweiss shrugs it off, denying that she praised him in the first place. Leon dismisses the matter, stating that he wanted to scare her, but it would be pointless if she wasn't afraid. Rosweiss replies that she doesn't think a small branch could hurt her with his current strength. She shares that Noah wrote to her yesterday, saying she was doing fine and asked them not to worry. Leon, surprised to hear about the letter being so short, asks for more details. Rosweiss explains that it was rare for Noah to take the initiative to write back, but she wanted them to know she was safe. Leon agrees, noting that Noah is very similar to Rosweiss in this regard. Leon observes that Noah always has a stern expression, making it hard for people to guess what she's thinking. However, once someone finds the right approach, she is pleasant to get along with. Rosweiss adds that Noah admires Leon greatly, having a typical dragon mentality that longs for strength. She mentions that Noah sees him as a top student and that she has won many first places at the academy, determined not to lose to him. Leon smiles, admitting he thought Noah saw him as just a weak nerd. Rosweiss recalls that when Leon first woke up, Noah often hid from him, but she frequently visited him during his coma, making excuses to check on Noah instead. Leon notes that Noah is as stubborn as he is. Rosweiss reminisces that when they were little, they would cry and no one would comfort them, but placing them next to Leon would immediately calm them down. She muses that perhaps before he realized it, their blood ties had already connected them. Leon, reflecting on the idea of blood relationships, admits it feels strange. As an orphan, he never experienced parental love as a child and didn't understand the concept of family. He recalls feeling lonely until his master and his wife adopted him when he was 5. Though they weren't related by blood, they treated him like their own son, giving him his first sense of home. Leon remembers feeling a sense of loss when he saw other children with their parents. As a child, he used to wish his master and his wife were his real parents. His master's wife once told him that he would become someone else's father in the future. When he asked if that meant he would become their father, she confirmed, saying that family members are the ones he wants to love, protect, and give everything for. Leon clenches his fist, determined that they are now his most precious family members. Rosweiss interrupts his thoughts, asking why he's daydreaming and suggesting they head back. Leon nervously brushes it off, thanking her for sharing her thoughts and agreeing to return. As they prepare to leave, Rosweiss slips her foot out of her shoe. Leon, puzzled, asks what she's doing. Rosweiss smirks and says that since he wants to thank her, he can help her put on her shoe. Leon, baffled, maintains a poker as he questions what she meant with a dazed face.
Meanwhile, sitting on the bench, Rosweiss tells Leon that since you want to thank me, please help me put on my shoes. After listening to her, Leon angrily replies, "Help you put on your shoes? No way." And by pointing his finger on her, he also tells her that it was humiliating enough that I washed your feet last time. And now you want me to put on your shoes. Don't I have any dignity? Leon's words were so harsh for her that she kicks him on his face and tells him that I haven't even settled the score with you for kissing me at the entrance ceremony. And now you can't even help me put on my shoes? Stop talking nonsense and finish this so that we can go back. After listening to what she has done for him, Leon finally accepts putting her shoes on. Meanwhile, Rosweiss tells her that although you said you were reluctant, but your movements are quite quick. After which Leon replies, "That's right. It's much easier to put shoes on you than to put shoes on a donkey." After listening to it, she again gets angry and again tries to kick him in his face, but this time Leon dodges her and tells her that as long as I run fast, you can't hit me. Meanwhile, listening to him, she thinks, what's the point of running so fast? You'll be in trouble tonight. Then a few days later, Rosweiss, Leon, and Mune see a big dragon flying over them. While seeing the dragon, Leon tells Rosweiss that, wow, this dragon is several times bigger than your transformed form. Then Rosweiss replies the giant dragon Leviathan is huge, but not very powerful. Due to its superior endurance and stable emotions, it usually serves as a transporter in the dragon clan. After listening to her, Leon asks her, what do you mean by emotionally stable? Then she replies, it is said that a Leviathan will never lose its temper even once in the thousands of years from birth to death. So the Academy uses them to pick up and drop off baby dragons. After that, Noah comes down from that dragon's back and tells Rosweiss that I'm back. Then Mune suddenly hugs her and tells her that, sister, I missed you so much. Meanwhile, seeing Noah confused about calling him dad or not, Leon thinks this child is not used to calling me dad yet. Then while going inside their castle together, Leon tells her that I'm glad you're back. Your mother and I made a lot of your favorite dishes. Later, Rosweiss and Mune see that Noah got very good marks in Dragon Academy. After which Noah tells her that there is one last subject, all-round physical fitness. I only got 95 points. I didn't get the first place, sorry. After listening to her, Rosweiss tells Noah that no need to apologize. It's already pretty impressive. And also Mune tells Noah that MOM is right in Mune's heart. Her sister is the best. Meanwhile, listening to them, Leon smiles and thinks of these two people. One is not very good at expressing emotions, and the other expresses emotions a little too fully. So it is up to Mui, the father, to do it. Then while looking at her marks, Leon tells Noah that running, bench press, pull ups, these are basic physical training. The people in your level are all 4 or 5 years old young dragons. It is normal that your physical fitness is a little worse than theirs. But you see, you won 9 out of 10 actual combat matches, the highest winning rate in the class. This shows that although you are not as strong as those little brats, you are far ahead in strategy and fighting skills. You don't need to worry too much about being third. There will be plenty of opportunities to surpass them in the future. After that, Noah tells him that I heard from my MOM that you were the top student in every student when you were in school. Then Leon replies, actually, when your father first entered school, he was not the first in the class. Later, he climbed to be in first place through hard work and perseverance. You still have a lot of time. Then he also tells her that don't let one mistake discourage you. I believe you can do better. After listening to his motivational words, Noah feels confident and replies, I see. Then suddenly Mune says, Dad is so powerful, so if he fights with MOM, who will win? After listening to her, both Rosweiss and Leon reply, me, with full energy. After that, Leon laughs and tells her that in my actual combat training back then, no matter it was hand-to-hand combat or weapon and magic combat, no one could match me. Of course, I was better. Then Rosweiss also says, although I haven't won as many honors in the Academy ASU, I only win the key games. And also asks him, that wasn't it, because you never beat me, that you married me and were captured by me? Then Leon replies, it was because you failed to beat me in the dungeon, that we had 2 lovely daughters, Mune and Noah. After that, while running outside, Leon says, let's go. I've been wanting to demonstrate this for a long time. After listening to them, Mune gets happy and asks Noah that are they going to fight? Then Noah replies, let's follow them and see. Then later outside, both Rosweiss and Leon stretch their bodies. And while sitting on the bench with the bucket of popcorn, Mune asks her sister that you are very curious who is more powerful, Dad or MOM, right? Then Noah replies, the teacher said that watching masters compete more often can also help us improve our fighting skills. Meanwhile, Rosweiss asks Leon that, come to think of it, your body probably hasn't recovered enough to fight me yet, right? Then Leon replies, so what? There aren't many opportunities to fight the Silver Dragon Queen, so of course I have to seize them. After that, Rosweiss asks her, why don't we gamble something? Then he also asks her what to bet on. After that, Rosweiss tells him that if you win, I won't touch you for a month. If I win, You have to meet one of my requests. After listening to her, he thinks I don't know what perverted demands she will make. But as long as I win, I can take a month off easily. After thinking all that he tells her with full energy that okay, I accept the bet. After that, both look at each other's eyes and Rosweiss tells him that so let's get started.
As the battle is about to unfold on the ground, with the wind bustling in the steady postures of Leon and Rosweiss, while Noah and Muen eagerly watching from the bench, suddenly a can of juice tumbles to the ground, capturing the attention of both Leon and Rosweiss. Muen cries out in dismay that her pineapple juice has been spilled, while Noah calmly informs her that the fight has begun. Both Rosweiss and Leon charge toward each other. Leon leaps at Rosweiss to land a punch, but she skillfully blocks it with her arms. She swings her tail to whip through Leon, but he narrowly deflects it as he flips out and takes a step back. He twists his arm, channeling his aura, and swings a kick at Rosweiss, who barely manages to block it but is sent stumbling back. Rosweiss thinks to herself that she doesn't have the advantage in physical skills compared to him, and decides it's best to maintain some distance. The supporting characters in this comic tell a lot of stories about the relationship between people. Leon teases her, remarking that it seems Her Majesty the Queen doesn't want to engage in close combat with him. Rosweiss, unfazed, uses her powers to launch a barrage of mysterious fireballs toward Leon, responding that as long as she can defeat him, that's all that matters. She hurls a series of fireballs at him. Leon sprints, dodging the attacks with agility. Muen, watching in concern, asks if their dad is going to lose since he keeps running away. Noah reassures her, explaining that it's not necessarily the case. Their dad is using his physical prowess to attack and evade his mother's fiery onslaught, while Mother is relying on her dragon flame to maneuver and create openings for an attack. Noah notes that this shows their mother doesn't feel confident in defeating him in close combat. Muen, impressed, praises her sister for her knowledge, to which Noah responds that it's what their teacher taught them in class. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Rosweiss launches another attack on Leon, teasing him that he's incredibly fast and perhaps he's just hiding and trying to survive. Leon, still evading the relentless blasts, grins and states that he's not only fast but also incredibly tough. He spins around just as a blast erupts, but he surges through the smoke. He taunts, saying that Rosweiss is too slow. Leon dashes toward Rosweiss, determined to close the gap, shouting that he'll take away his 1-month vacation as he unleashes a flurry of punches that corner her. Taken aback, Rosweiss thinks that Leon's magic power hasn't fully recovered, but the way he's using lightning magic to enhance his body to this extent is simply absurd. Leon smirks, acknowledging that she's cornered, and lands a powerful kick aimed at Rosweiss's hurl to unbalance her before she falls. Leon leaps toward her to deliver a punch, but instead grabs her hand to pull her out of danger, preventing her from falling. The unexpected move results in Rosweiss landing in Leon's embrace. Embarrassed, Rosweiss's face flushes bright red as she is caught off guard by their close proximity. She instinctively places her hand on Leon's chest, flaring up a surge of mysterious energy. Leon steps back, shouting that it's burning out, but oddly it doesn't feel as hot as expected. Rosweiss, ever stern, informs him that the battle isn't over yet, and questions how he can be so distracted. Meanwhile, Noah and Muen approach, asking who won in the end. Leon admits that he was careless and lost this time. Rosweiss, conceding with a nod, admits that he is indeed incredibly strong. Without the aid of enchanted armor or weapons, he managed to hold his ground against her. She admits that with just his physical skills, no one has ever been able to challenge her like this before. Leon, flexing confidently, declares that if he fought with all his strength, he would undoubtedly win. In response, Rosweiss smirks and reminds him not to forget about their bet, which inadvertently stabs at Leon, as he completely forgot about it. Leon collapses to the ground, his soul seemingly leaving his body, making Mien and Noah speculate if their dad is dead. But Rosweiss reassures them, saying it's fine as he just overexerted himself and collapsed. He'll recover soon enough.
What will happen next? To find out, do like, share and subscribe to our channel. You can also give us supers because your one support motivates us a lot to make such type of content. Thanks for watching. Sayonara.